Welcome to 100 Days Palworld Humans. While I spawn in and gather stuff, allow me to explain the rules of this challenge. I can only capture humans. Does this mean I can capture humanoid pals? No. No Bushi, no Robin Quill, Lyleen, Bella Noir, none of that. Just plain old humans. The second rule is, I have to defeat all of the tower bosses by day 100. Going into this 100 days, I already know that I will never have the advantage of using electricity, and I can't even smelt metal without fire pals. I do know some ways around these limitations without breaking the spirit of the challenge. What will my punishment be for failing this challenge? Nothing. Let's get it on. After gathering resources and explaining the rules, I leveled up and threw my skill points into work speed. Humans have handiwork at level 1, and I need to get things crafted faster than that, so I'll be doing most of the heavy lifting this time around. My fellow humans are there mostly as meat shields, taking the brunt of all combat, forcing me to be a house husband, and I don't really mind it all that much, honestly. As usual, I crafted a workbench and got started on my productions. My plan was to get a lot of pal spheres crafted as soon as possible and get myself some clothes as well. While I was wandering around picking up sticks and stones, I made it a point to collect lift monk effigies. I will absolutely be reliant on them in the future. From past experience, it seems that humans have some resistances to being captured and break out of pal spheres easier. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but that's how it feels anyway. Along the river of the windswept hills, I began farming all of the palladium nodes I came across. This took up a good bit of the morning, and when I farmed to my carry capacity, I returned to my forward base of operations. Upon my arrival, I heard the chime of a lucky pal. After searching the area for a bit, I found a gigantic Cativa stuck on this hill, and I began the attack. Whoa, this thing is a bit too strong for me right now, so I backed off. Then I unlocked some starter items and quickly fashioned myself a set of clothes for better protection. It's not much protection, but hey, it's better than nothing, I suppose. Afterwards, I placed a few campfires to make some food to stave off the inevitability of starvation. That lucky Cativa from a paragraph ago was driving me insane with its constant chiming, and I had to shut it up, no matter the cost. So began my hunt to silence it. I eventually found it sleeping in the starter cave, and I once again set upon this Cativa with great conviction. My desire for peace and quiet sacrosanct. That Cativa had got the last laugh, however, as it punched me into the mesh. I was left with no escape, and I was trapped. The clock was ticking until I starved to death, so I took the easy way out and hit the respawn button. The lucky Cativa got away for now. When I collected my things, I still heard the siren call of that lucky Cativa somewhere, and after searching, I had found it and put an end to its tyranny on my ears. Learning from my battle, I crafted myself an overshield. By now, I'm sure you all know what this thing is. I hope so, if you clicked on a Palworld video. To put it plainly, this thing is designed to keep my insides from coming outside. I also crafted myself a glider. I, of course, wanted to make my way over to the most goated island on the map, and I needed this to traverse safely. I'm talking about Sakurajima. I love that island a lot, and it's my holy mission to build a base there every time I make a Palworld video. Until the new island comes out, at least. When my equipment was ready to go, so was I. I set out and farmed resources to get some pal spheres crafted, and then I ventured out into the world looking for potential candidates to join my army. My first recruit would be this woman, sitting stoically by a campfire, greeting players as they enter Palworld, gifting us wood and a cautionary tale. Bet she didn't see this one coming, did she? Some troll-eyed maniac waifu with blue hair and a lot of pal spheres to burn. As soon as the pal sphere had left my hand, I was assailed by PIDF, and they were not happy with my transgression against humanity. I dodged the barrage of lead coming my way, and I absconded with the angry palmerk, narrowly avoiding a trip to the respawn. With a leap of faith, I had managed to give the constabulary the slip and did a quick relog to drop the heat. To make some of these humans feel a bit more personalized, I decided to name some of them. This one was named Lisa Lisa. The band? Or from JoJo? Yes. Eager to see Lisa Lisa's skills in combat, I did a quick field test to gauge her abilities. Let's just say, I've seen a three-toed sloth with more enthusiasm. She wasn't very good at all. She didn't even use her shotgun for what it was intended for. Oh well, she's my first friend in this playthrough, and it's not so lonely anymore, I guess. I wanted more friends, so Lisa and I ran to a Syndicate camp, and I caught a lot of them. I left mostly unscathed. I was built like Swiss cheese afterwards, and I couldn't hold a glass of water, but it was alright. Unfortunately, we did suffer a casualty. One of the Syndicate guys I caught actually bit it quite hard. Rest in peace. I returned to base after a successful outing and made some much needed repairs. My clothes were in rags after that fight. After getting my stuff fixed, I did a quick resupply and I returned to the Syndicate camp. Just like on day 2, I caught almost everyone in the camp except for the Syndicate gunner. He just didn't want to go with me, I guess. I wasted a ton of spheres trying to catch him, but I eventually did. At this point, I felt like I was ready to move on, and I decided that tomorrow I would run my way to Sakurajima Island. When I returned to base, I knuckled down and started farming a lot of stone and wood. I wanted to arrive on Sakurajima with a lot of spears. I think 122 would be good enough for now. Granted, most of the things on Sakurajima can't be caught with these, but I'd rather have them and not need them than need them and not have them, you feel me? Oh, here's a Syndicate thug petting a lamb ball, I guess. Day 4 had arrived quicker than I had anticipated, and thus, once more, did I set off to the promised land. I had spent most of the morning running in the direction I thought Sakurajima was. I've been there so many times by now that I don't even need to reference the map. Mostly. My travels took me to the small village that is tucked away under this gigantic bridge. I would be back here at some point, so me being future-minded, unlocked the fast travel node and continued on my quest. To shake things up for myself, I decided to take the scenic route to Sakurajima. I wanted to explore a bit and see if I could find anything interesting on my alternate route. I had found a desolate church, and I upgraded my PAL capture power and attempted to swindle this coin merchant. He really didn't appreciate my slight, and gave me a discount on the remaining days of my life. The start of day 5 was a complete disaster. Oh yeah, I got my stuff back by the way, only to lose it again. I got into a skirmish with more syndicates and a Tombat. There was a Depresso Wombo combo in there, and it put me in the dirt. I managed to grab all of my stuff not long after the incident, and I continued forward. My journey led me onto the bridge with Necromus and Palladius, and as soon as I had crossed the threshold into a new land, I was ambushed by the Free Pal Alliance. The title for these guys are a bit misleading. The only freeing they're doing is freeing local wildlife from the realm of the living, and I was next. And a group of them chased me all the way back across the bridge. Luckily for me, they gave up and retreated. Undeterred, I pressed on and found myself at the ancient ritual site. There, I managed to catch one of the Free Pal Alliance devouts. At the same time, I attracted the attention of this gang of Robin Quill. I wasn't about to stick around and find out what they wanted to do to me, so I legged it as fast as I could. After the pursuit, they lost chase and I was free to roam in peace. As the day wore on, I picked up more Lift Monk effigies and my path led me to the ocean. I began to tread water, not without great reservation though. I had no idea if I could actually make it across this bit of water, but I managed. Hey, it still sketched me out though. On the edge of the bamboo forest, I could just barely make out the boss tower of Sakurajima Island in the distance. As I was running, I saw a huge gang of Depresso, and I didn't want to tango with all that, so I kept my distance. Here's a cool Depresso fact, my glam fam. Did you know that Depresso can strip a chicken to bone in 3.5 seconds? Now imagine what an entire school of hungry Depresso could do to an adult human. Is this true? Sure, just don't ask Pocket Pear about it on Twitter. After running for some time without much filler content, I made it to the coast of the island I was on, and from there, I could see the giant mushrooms that were common in Sakurajima's swamplands. I was almost there. Tomorrow, I would swim across a small bit of water and be home free. When I seeked out a sojourn on the beach, I had a chat with this weary islander that told me a funny anecdote about a high-level merc being turned into a Denny's Grand Slam by a dire howl. He told me this exciting tale over the course of an 8-hour period, mostly because I went AFK to check on something. Bright and early on the morning of day 7, I swam across the water and arrived safely on the shores of Sakurajima. I was finally here. Almost immediately, I spotted a master pal tamer, and I had an idea to catch her. But before I could enact my scheme, I needed to build myself some insurance, just in case I died during the inevitable fight that was coming my way. With haste, I put down a pal box to act as a fast travel, and I farmed some stone and giant mushrooms for sticks, and laid down a snare trap. Ideally, the pal tamer would walk into the snare, and I placed down a campfire under her. The campfire would do ticking damage to her, and over time it would lower her health down for easy capture. A sound plan, a doable plan. So far the plan worked, and the tamer was snared. I placed down a campfire and waited for the right moment. First pal sphere was a no-go. And in retaliation, the pal tamer summoned a Relaxosaurus Lux, which in the moment was one of the scariest things she could have summoned. Relaxosaurus Lux were pretty strong, so I ran away, dodging a hailstorm of bullets and a hungry pal. With quick thinking, I managed to get the Relaxosaurus stuck on some mushrooms and doubled called back to the pal tamer. With finesse, I caught her in another snare. Unfortunately, she perished and my pal spears weren't strong enough to catch her. Oh well, easy come, easy go. I decided while I was here to do a quick party swap on our fallen troops in the pal box for healing, and handpicked my strongest warriors to accompany me. I dug through 3 trash piles and got 3 legendary pal spears, and I would use these a bit later. You see, I was on Sakurajima for a few reasons. 1, because it's awesome. 2, because the trash piles on the island contained crazy endgame loot, saving me the stress of farming for it later. And finally, there are groups of ninja that wander the Sakura forest called Moonflower Genin and Moonflower Jonan. If I could capture either a Genin or a Jonan, I'd have the foundations for a smooth 100 days. Ideally, if I captured a Jonan, I'd have the makings of a boss soloing, katana-wielding weapon, so that was my plan. I'm gonna need a lot of lift monks for this. My searching continued into day 8, and I managed to find a few more legendary pal spears. I had 6 in total. Hopefully, it would be enough for when I did find a Jonan. I ran to the edge of the swamp and climbed up into the Sakura forest, and I didn't have to look very far for a few Genin and Jonan. I placed down a bunch of snare traps and lured them in with a pal spear. Time froze for a moment as I ran into position. Success! I had captured one of the Genin. 1 down, 2 to go. After catching both Genin, I was left with only the Jonan, and after a dance of death, I managed to capture him as well. I placed a campfire down and waited with bated breath as his health began to drop. After a few failed attempts at capturing him, I managed to get lucky with my last legendary pal spear. I was taken aback by my wild stroke of luck, and I would not squander this massive boost I was given. Quickly, I hurried back to base to swap him in with my team. I gave him the name of Tenchi. He has the Masochist perk, which lowers his attack by 15%, but increases his defense by 15%. I don't really mind this, it lowers him being overpowered slightly. We went back to my original camp to use the repair bench, and I noticed that Tenchi, when he attacks, does something like over 3,000 damage, and I wanted to test him out against something stronger. I had found this random Mamorest just chilling doing Mamorest things, and so I sent in Tenchi. Tenchi, unsurprisingly, hit like a K-truck. I was flabbergasted. I knew that the Jonan were strong, but this is insane. I wasn't satisfied, so we went to the big leagues. I fought the Mamorest boss that wandered the windswept hills, and Tenchi made quick work of it. Each hit did more damage than most of the pals I've ever caught in my 100 days videos. I wanted him to become even stronger, and to do this, I would need at least 116 more Jonan to max him out in the pal condenser. With Tenchi defeating the Mamorest boss, I had a meteoric rise in levels and gained 9 in one sitting, propelling us forward by leaps and bounds. I was now level 26, and I could take on most of the threats with ease on the island. We went back to the starter camp, repaired, and then we set out to fight Zoey and Grizzbolt. The fight was kind of janky at the start. Tenchi had trouble locking onto Zoey for some reason, but he still did a metric ton of damage to her. On average, he was doing about 2,000 per hit, and it was devastating. In no time, Zoey and Grizzbolt had been cut down, and we claimed the tower for our own in victory. From previous testing and playthroughs, I know that you can feed humans pal skill fruits, and this will allow them to have new powers, and so I fed Tenchi the forbidden fruit from this tree. The most remarkable one was Try Lightning, and now that Tenchi had ranged attacks, he was an absolute weapon. The next day, I went back to our Sakurajima base to drop some things off, and I was ambushed by a couple of Croagiro. Tenchi wasn't having any of it, and put them down with ease. I didn't stay at base for too long, and began my journey to Mount Obsidian. I needed to unlock the fast travel by the fishing village because I needed metal ingots. You can get around using fire pals for forges by farming Bushi on the beach. On our journey, we came across a black market merchant, and I wanted some fast gold. With a trap, I slinged up the merchant and placed a campfire under him, and smacked him a few times to make sure I got the loot. After about a minute or so, he was done cooking, but he didn't drop anything. Weird. I wonder if they removed that from one of these smaller patches. Oh well, back to it then. There it is, Mount Obsidian. Probably the worst place in all of Palworld, hands down. Oh no, the merchant, no. Oh well, I suppose I better take care of these ruffians. Alright, Tenchi, let's go. Oh, he's hungry. I didn't even know humans could get hungry. There you go, buddy. His sanity is like 30. Tenchi, what are you doing? There we go. Oh my goodness gracious. That was a bit unnecessary. Oh boy, another lift monk effigy just for me. You know, suddenly the realization catching 116 Moonflower Jonan just hit me. I have my work cut out for me. I got a ton of metal that I need to farm. There's just so much to do, so little time. We're only on day 11 and I already feel exhausted. Hey, what's up, man? You know, I could use a trader back at base. What kind of spheres am I packing? I have an ultra sphere. Alright. Let's do this. Oh my gosh, I just threw my ult. I'm so dumb. Okay. I'll get you next time, wandering merchant. If it's the last thing I do. Yeah, for anyone who's watching this video, once it's out on YouTube, I absolutely cannot hit the broadside of a barn. Technically, I'm legally blind. Oh, they are after me. Oh my goodness gracious. Please leave me alone. I'm just a small anime girl that conveniently looks kind of like Rei Ayanami from Neon Genesis Evangelion. Alright, Tenchi, go get him. Tenchi, what are you doing? Defend me! He's just kind of standing there menacingly. Oh, he's got this. Excuse me, sir. Just gonna steal this pal sphere and the Slith Monk. So, aside from just logging out to drop the wanted level, is there any way you can organically just remove it in the game, or do I have to die? Alright, good job, Tenchi. There we go, get him. Bonkai. He's at half health. What are you doing? No! Oh, I wasn't even paying attention! Well, that's unfortunate. Gotta go all the way over there. Well, at least I got a fast travel at the church. Oh, I didn't realize I was that far. Oh, come on, man. Look at this guy. Just chilling. Moist, unbothered, staying in his own lane. Couldn't be me. There we go. Now I'm not naked anymore. That's nice. Hello, sweeper. Knowing my luck, I'm going to die randomly to something crazy. Never mind. Glam, why do your Palworld videos take so long to get out? Well, my Glam fam, this is the reason. I spent all day running towards Mount Obsidian. Yes, we must be getting close to Mount Obsidian. I feel an overwhelming wave of dread filling my body. Who's a good boy? Who's a good ninja? Oh, that actually is kind of sus. Tenchi, you are one crazy guy. Yeah, you know, looking at my current position and looking at that Lift Monk effigy, I just don't think that's going to happen. As soon as I arrive at the base of Mount Obsidian, I'm going to have to run like a maniac so I don't burn. Didn't bother making a tropical outfit because I'm stupid, apparently. Alright, Tenchi. Where are you at? Tenchi! Oh my goodness, where are you? He really is a ninja. Hold up, hold up. Here it comes. Wow, that's right on the way to a fast travel beacon. Alright, let's go. Oh yes, we have some opposition. Go get him! Tenchi. Oh, why are you shooting me? Alright, go get him, Tenchi. Just go. Use your sword. Tenchi, use your sword. No, 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 no. Smash and grab. Smash and grab. Come on, Glam. Come on. Playing with fire here. Run, run, run. I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it. No, 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 no. Oh. You want to know what true despair feels like? Die 30 meters away from a fast travel beacon at Mount Obsidian. Ugh, this is worse than my 13th birthday party. Hello? Look out below. What's up with all these random pals just flying into the air? I don't understand. How does that happen? Oh, this is nice. Look at this. This would be a really nice base location. For anyone that's wondering, here it is on the map. Right here. My love is only for Sakurajima, though, so I will not be building here. I can't believe this. It's day 12, and I spent the morning running to Mount Obsidian. Now I'm spending another half of the day running back. Maybe if I just haphazardly climb this really high wall, and then climb that other one, I'll be able to get my stuff back. Still boggles the mind that I can climb a 90-degree angle with nothing but flip-flops and a dream. Really wish I put some points into stamina. Oh no. How did I not die? You know what? We're going around the wall. Ignore the chest, Glam. It's not worth it. Wham. I'm getting this thing first and foremost. I'm not playing around. There it is. There's our destination. In the distance, you can see the orange of the beacon. Alright, what do you have, my good man? First, let me drop off some of this trash. 21,000 coins. Made a tidy profit. Alright, I think I'll purchase myself a nice set of heat-resistant pelt armor, this makeshift handgun, and coarse ammo. I can buy 150 rounds. And I'm broke. What else is new? So long, wooden club. It's been a slice. Hey, can you see if this thing's loaded for me? Another lift monk for the collection. Kitted out and ready to rumble. Let's go find some Bushi. Hopefully they spawn. I've noticed that sometimes it's a pain to get them to spawn in, especially when you're looking for them. But if you don't want to find a Bushi, oh yeah, there he is, teleporting right to you. Am I right? Or am I right? There are so many Incineram around here. Why? Where's all the Bushi? I don't want to have to run all the way back to the Bushi arena. Don't make me do this. So looking at all these skill points, I think the final last call for me is going to be this heat resistant metal armor, because I can't capture electric pals. I cannot use the power generator, which won't allow me to use any of these things, and foolishly I unlocked the Giga Shield without paying attention. I'm not going to be able to get any of this stuff, and I'm not one to clickbait my audience, so I'm sticking with just humans. I'm not even going to tame like farming pals or anything like that. It's kind of lame. Alright, go get him, Tenchi. Oh my goodness. No, you stay away from me. Tenchi! Tenchi, help me! That could have ended horribly. Oh, I didn't realize these guys drop coins and flame organs. Okay. Usually I just avoid them. And so I spent the rest of the day on the beach trying to find Bushi for metal ingots. Oh, look at that Faleris all the way out there. Or is that a Ragnarok? I think it's a Ragnarok. Yeah, it is. Sorry, everyone. My vision's going out. I established this, like, 2 days ago. I still have yet to see a Bushi. Uh-oh. SpaghettiOs. Oh, Lord, he coming. Got him. I spent 100 days searching for Bushi in Palworld. Here's what happened. There's one. Oh, first Bushi. Go get him, Tenchi. Oh, he's hungry again? Even when hungry, he's an absolute unit. Excuse me? Eventually, I should probably get to Dune Shelter so I can purchase lettuce seeds and wheat seeds. Ah, a task for another day. I need metal right now. There's another Bushi. Alright, go get him, Tenchi. Oof. Yeah, let's up my stamina this time. I've been here all day. I only have 2 Bushi to show for it. Maybe I might have better luck farming them on Sakurajima, actually. I'm going back to Sakurajima. 2 Bushi in the span of an 8-hour period is definitely not worth the cost. Plus, if I go back to Sakurajima Island and start farming Bushi Noct, I will get a gauge of Tenchi's power. He's already pretty strong, but I want to see what he can really do. And so did our intrepid hero return back to Sakurajima Island to test out the might of his companion Tenchi. Ah, there's this Lyleen over there. Wish me luck, my glam fam. So far, it's not looking good. Nope. I'm running. Whoa, that was close. I love this island, but at this level, it's gonna take a few years off of my lifespan for all these jump scares I keep getting. I mean, it's just a video game, sure, but, you know, still has its moments. I have 18 metal ingots to my name. Wow. I don't really remember if Bushi Noct spawned during the day. I think the best course of action would be to avoid every Verdash I see and just loot trash piles. Come on, legendary pal spheres. Yes! One is more than I had. I also need to build a pal condenser too. Once I get a few Jonan into Tenchi, he'll become even stronger, which means I'll become even stronger, and that's the whole point. Memoirs of a Moonflower Jonan, starring Tenchi. To build in the Sakura Forest once again, or not to. It's really tempting. The only problem is the Yakumo. Yeah, those little guys right there. I probably look like an easy meal for them, so I'm just gonna give them a wide berth. Keep going this way. Oh, a trash pile. How delightful. Come on, legendary pal sphere. Let's go. Dang it. Is that another trash pile? I have to see. Oh, it is. Nestled between 2 rocks. Whoa, 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 whoa. What's going on? Oh, those chillettes scared me. That was a bit unnecessary. Gave me a little jolt, a little start there. You know, it'd be really cool if every trash pile I looted gave me exactly what I wanted. That'd be great. Come on, legendary pal spheres. Dang it. Yeah, this is just a glimpse into what I do in my 100 days videos. I just run around Sakurajima looking for trash. Not the most exciting, wacky content, I understand, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. How crazy am I to go onto the beach? Not very. I don't really want to go down on the beach. Is that a dragon egg or is that a dark egg? Nah. I'm not gonna go look, who cares? I don't know what they were thinking in Japan naming these guys Prickster. Means a whole different thing in English. Technically, I'm not on the beach, right? I'm just kinda on the outskirts a little. I refuse to go down there. No luck with the legendary Palspheres today. That's really unfortunate. I have 3 Ultra Spheres and 1 Legendary Sphere. I don't know if the Ultra Spheres can actually catch the Jonan. I have no idea how many of these things I've picked up. Seems like a lot. Okay, let's have a peek at this tree, see what we can get. Something good, a treat for me. Multi-cutter, okay. Dark cannon, blast cannon. Oh, Tenchi, bone apple the teeth. It's almost nighttime. One more trash pile. One more for the road. Still no legendary Palspheres. F in the chat, boys. F in the chat. By the way, let me ask you guys something. Do you prefer this narrating style over reading a script? Let me know, please. This is far easier than writing a script, and it's a bit more off the cuff. I'm just not sure what y'all prefer. I can go either way, honestly. Surely a legendary Palsphere in this one, right? Nope. Let's go find some Bushi Noct now. I'm feeling quite anxious. Kinda have my doubts. Oh, especially with Lisa. Oh no. Well, we're in it now. Alright, Tenchi. You see, the unfortunate thing about Nintendo being the way they are is that I can't throw Tenchi over the river to go confront that Bushi. Oh no. I was too busy complaining and I suffered. I'm sorry, Nintendo. I'll never talk bad about you again. Oh, there he is. I need to go. Goodbye. I'm running. He is not doing a lot of damage to this Bushi Noct. Not as much as I'd like. Oh no, I put all my bullets away. That's not good. I thought that farming Bushi Noct here would be a lot easier, but I was apparently wrong. I said, oh yeah, maybe we can farm Bushi on Sakurajima, and here we are. There's a ton of Bushi everywhere, but they're way out of my league. I think I'm going to have to divert my plan. Oh no, oh no, no. Right, and I'm starving. You know, you think these things out in your head and everything seems like it'll go perfectly when you're thinking about it, but when you actually put it into action, it just goes so horribly wrong. Oh no, no way. Leave me alone. Yamate, Yamaro. Oh no, I'm stuck, I'm cornered, I'm dead. Sayonara. Well, this kind of puts a crimp in things, doesn't it? Wow, okay. Oh no, I'm dead. Oh, how did I survive? I'm running for my life. Oh, I thought for sure that would have my number. It appears that I've escaped. Would I even be able to catch a Jonan with an Ultra Sphere? I have no idea. I have never tried it. This is a nice area. It's pretty lovely. You got a view of the mountain, the big tree. I am in a legendary Palsphere drought. Please, just a small morsel. Oh, look at that. It's a huge dragon egg. That would have came in handy in my last 100 days video. But it is what it is. Well, it's almost lunchtime and I still have nothing to show for it. Unless... Alright, I see some Genin and a Jonan over by a trash pile. I might try to do this to my advantage. I have plenty of wood on me. I just need stone. Stone I see. Guarded by even more Moonflower Genin. They're everywhere. Look at that. There's Genin over here. Genin and a Jonan over there. I am spoiled for choice. Hopefully I can actually capture some Jonan though. Oh no, oh no. I got greedy. I'm paying the ultimate price. It's not worth it. I'm out of stamina. Anything bad can happen and probably will happen. I'm stuck. Oh no. It's just me and the Jonan. Oh, okay. I guess they're retreating? Sure. Oh, they're coming back for seconds. Whoa, these ninjas, I swear. They're very good at their training. So this is the art of shinobi. Please leave me alone. Oh no, please. Just leave me alone. What's that? Oh, that's a Yukumo. Great. Oh, the they're gone. Alright, they're fine. They finally left me alone. Finally. Now I have to backtrack. Is that another huge dragon egg? Why couldn't I have this luck in my last video, man? Come on. Who did I make mad to rack up such bad karma? So now that I have the materials for a trap, or 2, or 3, or 4, how many ever it takes, all the Jonan just disappear. And all I'm left with are Genin. Oh no. Oh no. I haven't captured a Genin. I don't know how strong they are, but... is that... It's a lucky Quivern. Wait, what did I do? Why are you attacking me? I like Quivern. No. No. Oh, what is that? Oh, where were you in my last video? I'm not even mad. I'm just severely disappointed. I'm seeing huge dragon eggs everywhere. A lucky Quivern spawned in. Absolutely wacky. Oh, a supply drop. That could be a boon. I'll go get that after I get my stuff back. Once again, I am at full power. If I keep having bad strokes of luck like this, I'm probably just going to have to suck it up and just go level out in the world, because I am falling way far behind. Arigato, Lift Monk San. Ooh, more Ultra Spheres, a heat-resistant undershirt too. Well, 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 and a vital elixir. How delightful. Oh no, please. No, let me loot this first. Oh no, I have made a grave mistake. That one's on me, everyone, okay? That one's on me. I panicked, okay? I'm sorry, what do you want from me? Going to collect my belongings with tears in my eyes. Granted, this isn't as bad as my 100 Days Dragon video. I'm used to beatings at this point. The sharpest of blades were not forged in the coldest of fires. Or something, I don't know. Just making things up as I go. Is this Bushi gonna give me trouble? Please. I beg of you. Allow me to sort through this trash. Oyo gozaimasu. It's a brand new day. I think I see some Moonflower, Genin, and Jonan finally. Unless they just met an untimely end. Hopefully they didn't. They're still down there. Alright, let's enact my master plan. Alright, I think this many traps should be enough. Hey, you! Down there. Oh yeah, I forgot I have no bullets. Oh, that made him mad. No, my own trap has trapped me. Yo! Okay, calm down. Please work, please work, please work, please work. Got him. I got one of them. Oh, yes. Oh, like a fly to vinegar. I could try and capture a Genin. These guys actually look pretty cool, if I do say so myself. Alright, here we go. Really? Oh my goodness. I should have known. Well, great, now what do we do? You know, in hindsight, I've been collecting all these Lift Monk effigies. I could have just leveled up my capture power before engaging in this endeavor. You know, as they say, hindsight is always 20/20. Alright, Megasphere, go. Hypersphere, go. Ultrasphere? Really? You know, how about a Genin? Will the Ultrasphere work on a Genin? Nope, these ones don't have very good odds either. This has got to be illegal. This doesn't feel right. Maybe I could get lucky and find a legendary Palsphere somewhere around here. Wishful thinking, right? All I need is one trash pile. Oh, there's a trash pile. Sick. Oh, what? Yes. Oh, that is so clutch. 3 legendary Palspheres. Hail Mary. Oh, so close. One more Palsphere left. Oh no, he broke out. No. Easy come, easy go, as they say. Pardon me, good sir, but what you are doing is ethically wrong. Yeah, and? I decided that now would be the time to move my base out of the swamp. I missed the sakura trees and the lanterns at the center of the island. I picked up all the materials that I had gathered up until this point, deleted my PAL box, and began my ascension up the hill. Moving didn't take too long, and I decided to settle off the beaten path, right off the edge of the cliff near the Sakura Shrine. My armor was in tatters from fighting, and I needed to conduct some much needed repairs. So I placed a repair bench, and then I took some time unlocking important essentials. Some of these items I needed to build required stone, and I didn't really have much farmed up. The place I decided to settle at didn't have any boulders next to it either, and off I went to farm stone from somewhere nearby. When I was done farming, I placed down a few campfires to keep the area lit up while I fumbled around the area. Satisfied, I resorted to crafting nails for the rest of the night. The nails would be used to create a high quality workbench so I can get myself better equipment. Some of these crafting recipes called for metal ingots, and because I made nails the night before, I was completely fresh out. Early in the morning on day 18, I left with Tenchi back to Mount Obsidian to hunt for Bushi. Maybe my luck would turn around and they'd spawn with greater numbers, fingers crossed. Off of the shore, I could just make out the small flame on top of a familiar hat. A Bushi was wandering around in the water, and we got the jump on him. Another ways away, there was another Bushi, and another. I was gaining the metal that I so desperately needed. Now, I didn't have to do this, but I wanted to. I got into a fight with a group of Brother of Eternal Pyre. Brothers? Brotherhood? Whatever. These broody rudies weren't too hard to catch. I'd probably never ever use them. Why would I? I have Tenchi, and he's already perfect. After I forced that Brotherhood guy to see things from my perspective, I snuck up on another Bushi sleeping on the beach. As I was writing my notes, I had made friends apparently, until the Bushi was consumed, and then they were eyeballing me for dessert. I didn't want to serve any of them some of my cake, so we put them down. I had stayed at Mount Obsidian overnight hunting for Bushi, and on the morning of day 19, a supply drop fell from the sky. It landed on top of a mountain nearby, and I tried my best to find it. I spent about 6 minutes looking for it, but eventually decided it wasn't worth it right now. Another Bushi politely separated itself from its sword, and with that, I decided to head back home. With the metal I had acquired, I crafted a high-quality workbench and immediately crafted myself a mega grappling gun. Climbing and running was becoming a chore, and not to mention a huge time sink, and this was a much-needed upgrade for my kit. I was running around the forest looking for trash and playing around with my new grappling gun when I was attacked by a Bushi by the Sakurajima graveyard. This particular Bushi must have been a spirit of vengeance because it almost took out Tenchi and myself. After that near brush with death, I made my way over to the river and began farming some PAL fragments for later. I farmed as much as I could and headed back home. There, I was beset upon by a Jonan. Tenchi defended me valiantly, but almost succumbed to his wounds. The other Jonan that he fought almost got the upper hand on him, but we came out on top. With excitement, I crafted myself a new hip lantern because I'm scared of the dark, and I made myself a new glider because I'm scared of falling to my doom. Eventually, I got around to crafting a statue of power too, so I could finally upgrade my capture power. I don't know why I didn't do it a lot sooner. Yeah, I tend to procrastinate until a small problem becomes a huge one. With all the fighting that we had been doing, Tenchi and I were becoming even stronger. We could now fight things on Sakurajima and more often than not actually win. Tenchi fought and defeated a Bushi knock. A week or so ago, he could barely put a dent in them. Now, we had an infinite source of metal ingots right at our doorstep. I went back to the Statue of Power and saw that I had a lot of PAL souls stockpiled and used them to upgrade Tenchi's attack by a decent percentage. It didn't seem like much in the fights we'd have, but I'm sure if I used the PAL condenser, he'd become insanely strong. We'll see. I still have yet to build it. In my last videos, I kind of just lived like a hobo almost. I wanted to do something a bit different this time, and I built a small house. It was going to be my personal house, but I thought a cozy pub would have been better. I unlocked some decorations and began shaping this small but humble shack into something with substance. The bar is kind of looking cozy if I do say so myself. Who knows, I might expand it a bit. Another late goal I set for myself is to build a small town here. I should have done this as soon as I moved here. Oh well, better late than never I suppose. I placed down some berry plantations to get a source of food going. Up until now we were sustaining off of raw meat and moldy bread from treasure chests. My stomach needed a break from the nutritional nightmares I had been subjecting myself to. A little ways from base, a Lyleen had graced us with its presence. I wanted to fight it, and I was disintegrated almost immediately. When I got my things back and went home, the Syndicate decided to throw me a housewarming party. Luckily for me, Luckily for me, I had hot lead prepared as a party snack. The excitement from the evening got my blood pumping, and I spent the rest of the night farming Bushi Noct. I farmed Bushi until the morning, and my travels led me to a skill fruit tree that had some very powerful dragon fruits on them. Of course, they went to Tenchi. My quest for power wasn't done. I needed a special weapon to supplement Tenchi and myself. I could still craft a piece at the weapons workbench, but the Alpha Beacon boss had a chance to drop a really good legendary schematic. Ideally, I get it on my first try, saving myself the headache of putting it on farm, because that's how these things always work, right? I had a long trek ahead of me, so Tenchi and I left to hunt down the Beacon boss. Along the way, I almost met an untimely end. I had misjudged the distance between my glider and the ledge, and landed right into the water with no stamina left. We cut it really close this time. I'm lucky things didn't end badly. After that scare, we stopped by to say hello to the Bushi boss, who was so excited to see us that he gave me metal ingots and a level up. Oh, how generous. The trip north took all night, so let's just hop into day 24. Day 24. The details for today are a bit sparse. All I did was fight Relaxosaurus Lux, because why not? And we made it to the Beacon boss arena. To avoid death, I had to jump around a lot to avoid any damage coming my way. But after a bit, Tenchi did manage to win, and guess what? No blueprint. Rip. Things went a bit awry. It all happened so fast. I was fighting Genin with Tenchi, and somehow a Verdash got caught up in the mix, and caught me unaware. For my punishment, I was turned to lobby against my will. Tenchi went down with me. We are bound as brothers now, entwined in this mortal coil. I eventually got my belongings back, and went back to base to upgrade my tools from stone to metal finally. To unwind from the stress of the day, I tended to my garden. I adopted the ninja way. Be a warrior in a garden instead of a garden and a warrior. I actually forgot what that saying was. I'm just too lazy to Google it. In actuality, I was killing time waiting for Tenchi to mend in the PAL box. It was a 9-minute penalty every time he bit it, and boy did I end up feeling it at the end of this playthrough. It felt like eternity for him to heal, and I got bored sitting at base doing nothing, so I figured I'd be a bit proactive and farm some stone. With all that stone, I made a stone pit to save myself the effort of running around looking for wild boulders. This thing was a godsend. When I finished with my task, I was running around the Sakura forest when suddenly a supply drop fell literally right in front of me. I was flabbergasted. This was an amazing drop too. A blessing, to be sure. I don't have much to say about day 26, other than it was a day for legendary Pal Spheres. Make it rain. Is that good? Yeah, okay, I'll leave that in the video. I spent all night rummaging through trash and my efforts were greatly rewarded. I had a cool 20 Pal Spears. There is no way I can't catch a Jonan now. After setting up some traps, I lured in a Jonan with mild stress. When his health was low enough, I threw a barrage of legendary Pal Spears. Would you believe that I blew through 14 of them just to capture one Jonan? It's true. And he had better passives than Tenchi. For a moment, I thought about feeding Tenchi to this other Jonan. I had a heavy decision to make. Give up Tenchi, the main man who has been with me through it all, or feed the superior Jonan Tenchi for a mild stat boost. Only time would tell. So I got a bit greedy and slid the wild pal appearance rate all the way to 2, and today I fought 2 of the Alpha Beacon bosses. My thought process was, 2 Beacon bosses, double the chance at that blueprint. The plan in my head was foolproof, but as usual, wishful thinking, and I died. Twice. I managed to get one of the beacon down, but no blueprint. The other one disappeared into the aether, so with nothing to show for it, I returned home. At this time, I turned the appearance rate slider back to normal, or at least I thought I did. I guess I didn't save the settings or something because a huge fight broke out between myself and Tenchi and a few Bushi Noct with some Wixen Noct thrown in for good measure. And no, I did not survive the altercation. Tenchi didn't survive either, and since he was my hard carry, I had to let him heal in the PAL box. I used this time to reflect on the horrible atrocities that I've committed to get to this point. All the humans folded neatly into Pal Spheres, their screams for help, once again, longing for release. On a more positive note, my berries were nice and red, probably the best in all of Sakurajima. I had enough metal to build a condenser finally. This would allow me to feed Tenchi other Jonan to make him stronger. When the condenser was finished, a wandering merchant foolishly wandered next to me. He was not safe, and I tried to catch him. He caught the lead with his teeth. Oopsie. I had a moment of silence for the fallen homie as I glanced over the interface for the condenser. By sheer chance, I discovered that I can use any type of human to make Tenchi stronger. I wasn't forced to just use Jonan Jonan. This one simple discovery was a complete turning point in this playthrough. All the humans I've caught, save for Lisa, were fed to Tenchi, making him even stronger. With this knowledge, I rushed over to the Syndicate camp and caught as many thugs as I possibly could. And apparently this stupid Gumas that got in my way. This one Gumas would ruin the playthrough and void this whole challenge. Nah, just kidding. I dropped it on the ground. It can think about what it did for eternity. By the way, full disclosure, this isn't the first time this happens. This happens at least twice in this video. Nearby, I ran into a cave to catch even more Syndicate, and did find some. When I had enough, I returned home and made a stun baton to catch humans easier. The tooltip for this weapon states that pals are easier to capture while they're stunned. I don't really believe that. I use this stun baton a lot, and it's kind of underwhelming. To make the stun baton, I needed a decent amount of metal, so once again, I returned to the base of Mount Obsidian with a bounty for Bushi. And I fought a lot of Bushi playing this game through all of my videos. This one, however, is the only Bushi to genuinely give me a jump scare, and he had to pay. One thing I've noticed with hunting Bushi here is that a lot of them end up walking around in the ocean. I'm not sure why they do this, but it's just something I've noticed. And you know what else I've noticed? Only 1% of the people that watch my videos are subscribed. Normally, I don't like to ask for a subscription, because I feel it should be earned, and I like to let you guys that watch the video decide. But when I do ask for a call to action, I've noticed that I get a huge boost in subs. So if you like my content, please consider subscribing. It helps my channel grow. YouTube likes it, and it makes me feel almost human again. And you can always change your mind later too, of course. But why would you? Who else is out here making some of the crispiest Palworld content on YouTube? Thank you! Alright, shameless plug aside, I spent the rest of the day farming Bushi for metal. I eventually found myself back at base, and I could hear the chime of a Lucky nearby, and I wanted to fight it for levels and to make the noise go away. Honestly, I could have just left the area and came back, but I like to overcomplicate things because it's funny. The Yakumo snapped into me like a Slim Jim and put me 6 feet under. Couldn't keep me down though, and I made that stun baton finally. At the time of crafting this thing, I thought it was going to be the final answer to catching humans easier, but in all actuality, the stun baton really isn't that great. To put my mind off of that, I also wanted a fresh set of metal armor, so once again, that's right, I farmed Bushi. At some point during the day, Tenchi fought a Mimog, and upon its defeat, it dropped a ton of dog coins and gold. So you can purchase things from a dog coin merchant that boost pal stats, and now I'd be keeping an eye out for Mimog that were unfortunate enough to cross my path. I condensed more humans into Tenchi and upgraded his attack to max at the Statue of Power, and I had a lot of souls left over, so I upgraded his health as well. My armor still needed to get crafted, and I was short on ice organs. I could go unlock Dune Shelter to buy them from the merchants, or I could just do a quick one and done with Pen King. On my way over to Pen King's house, I caught more humans that were unfortunate enough to be in my presence. After a few minutes of walking, we made it to Pen King's humble abode. Hello, Pen King, how the heck are ya? He'll be fine, he's just taking a little nap. No, yeah, he's fine, alright, let's go. When I got home, a supply drop landed somewhere near me. I wasn't paying attention as to where, so I began running around to find it, dodging danger every which way. When I got to it, I tore it open and was greeted by a mild spread. I was hoping for work speed elixirs or a pendant of diligence. Oh well, beggars can't be choosers. After a few minutes of wandering around, I finally got to crafting my cold-resistant armor, and paired with a thermal shirt, I would hopefully be immune to most extreme temperatures, until I die at least, and then it's back to square one. Now that I had a mid-game set of armor, I was ready to fight the mid-game tower bosses. I had a few options. I could go back to Mount Obsidian to fight Axel and Orserk. I could fight Marcus and Faleris, or I could fight Lily and Lyleen. Yeah, I chose Lily and Lyleen first. As I was explaining who I wanted to fight to my glam fam, a wandering merchant made the mistake of interrupting me, so I caught him. I'm going to treat him as a butler, and Sebastian was the name I chose. Yeah, I'm sticking with it. I said goodbye to Sebastian, and ran to Lily's tower. This took a really long time, but at least I got some fire ability fruits for the up-and-coming boss fight. I had traveled through the night and spent the morning climbing the mountain. I am so glad I had a grappling gun for this. If I didn't, I would have gone so crazy. When I got to the top, I ran straight for the fast travel beacon, having learned from my painful past mistakes. With a fire in my belly and a souped up shinobi, we kicked the door down to Lily's tower and began to fight her. The fight actually took no time at all, and Tenchi really didn't even flinch. Alright, well, I guess it was time to go east into the Great Desert. When we reached the top of the tower, I peered over the land and began my journey. Along the way, I stopped to appreciate appreciate how nice this frozen lake looked against the sunset. I didn't get to admire it for too long because I slipped into a crack and began phasing in and out of reality at a rapid pace. Luckily, I had my trusty grappling gun and got out of that sticky situation. When I began gliding down to a lower elevation, I got greedy and tried to go right for this fast travel beacon, and I almost drowned again. Yeah, I know. This is like the third time this has happened. You'd think I'd learn by now. The only thing that saved me was my large HP pool, and even then, I'd be devastated if I lost all of my gear now. Losing my bag would set me back weeks in Palworld time. It was just a risk that I wouldn't be willing to take. When the sun came up, I started running to the desert boss tower. Along the way, I farmed daisies for their clouds. They act as a fast travel in a pinch when you craft the homeward thundercloud at the workbench. In the distance, I spotted what I thought was a Meemog, but when I got closer, it turned out to be a regular old chest. These desert mirages are no joke. Or I could be tired, who knows. After much running, I was almost at the tower, except I was on the wrong mesa. In the blink of an eye, I arrived at the tower. Wow, editing sure is useful. A 10-minute trip took literal seconds. The massive journey that took place over the last few paragraphs had left me a little tired, so I just went home and cooked food to relax for the rest of the day. The next morning, I went back to the desert and ran my way over to Dune Shelter. Here, I would purchase various things, like a blueprint to make a Cativa hat, and some lettuce seeds. It was my hope to make salads for various work-related projects at base. Salads increase work speed significantly for both humans and pals. Since it was just me running everything, I needed all the help I could get. When I was finished participating in commerce, I attempted to capture a few merchants to bring home with me. They didn't like this prospect. I guess living rent-free in a beautiful sakura forest surrounded by wildlife, flowing rivers, and all the red berries you could eat was a horrible fate to them, compared to living in this dry and nearly dead wasteland. To each their own. I did manage to catch one merchant. It wasn't the one I wanted, but it was more meat for the grinder, I suppose. After a few relogs and attempts, I got the merchant I did want. But hey, why stop there? I caught a couple of PIDF officers and some villagers too. No one was safe. No one. When I finished up at Dune Shelter, I ran to the northern part of the desert to unlock a fast travel. Usually this area is teeming with Syndicate, and I'd use this area to farm a bit later. On the start of day 37, I fought the Chilette boss for no reason at all. I really did not have to be here. I was actually on my way to fight Cativa to get some of her fur, so I can craft the Cativa hat. I did get some fur. You know, as I type this, there is no way for me to say this without sounding hella sus. Yikes! A little distance from the Cativa fight, I saw a huge mountain that I wanted to climb, so climb it I did. There was no reason to do this. From this great height, I could see a lot of Palworld. I could even see my base from up here. Well, not really, but let's just pretend. I could also see Liftmonk effigies scattered across the map, and I was due for a capture power level up. So back down the mountain I went, grabbed a Liftmonk effigy, and went home to upgrade. I'm not sure if I'd keep at this. The requirements are becoming more and more taxing, and without the aid of a flying pal, this would take up a tremendous amount of time to complete. But if I see an easy to grab Liftmonk, yeah, I'll get them. My base was looking a bit bland, and I wanted to build it up. I've noticed that most of my bases as of recent have been quite sparse, so I started laying down foundations for smaller houses. The idea was to have some humans live here and make it look like a small settlement. I didn't really have a layout for the village planned, so I just kind of haphazardly threw down in places I thought needed a house. With that being said, I spent most of the day just building. I'd play something like the Red Dead Redemption 2 house building song here, but I won't, so we'll just pretend. At the end of the day, I wanted to build a merchant hall. The plan was to have the merchants have an isolated living area complete with beds and food. What I'm trying to say is they'd have merchant stalls that they would live in, and they would be right here as I needed them. The only issue I ran into, though, is that they would teleport through the walls to wander the base, so I just made this as a general living quarters. I had another chore I wanted to get done today. I needed to clean up some of the meteors that were scattered around the island. Watching out for supply drops became a bit confusing with all the meteor icons cluttering up the map on the top of the screen. Plus, I could be paranoid, but I think the meteors take up a supply drop spawn. I'm not really sure if that's true. It could just be me being hyper paranoid. While out and about in the world, I found a decent loot drop. Maybe I'm not too crazy. Having my fill of this, I returned home and made a good amount of homeward thunderclouds. When I was finished with that chore, I came across another Meemog and got the coins I needed to buy Tenchi a power fruit to boost his attack stats. Day 40 is a bit short, not a whole lot happened. I did find another Meemog and fought Cativa for her hair. I got nothing to show for my trip here. Unsatisfied with the results, I decided to find a wild Cativa, and I did get some of her fur. Look, I'm going to be real. If any parents are watching my videos, I apologize for this joke. It's not my intention, trust me. It just kinda happens. The item is literally called Cativa fur. Since I was in the area, I fought the Patalia boss. just because. I was procrastinating on catching humans, but it needed to get done if I wanted to max out Tenchi for the final two bosses, Victor and Seiya, both of which are pretty scary in their own right. The last time I fought those two, I had a super Shadow Beak with a maxed out party of Hootkrates. Or hoot crates. The owls. The dark owls, okay? As seen in one of my other videos. I do need better Pal Spears to make this easier though. Regular Pal Spears just weren't cutting it anymore. When I finished with the dungeon, I used a thundercloud to get home because I was feeling lazy, and when I got there, I immediately set out to farm Bushi again. The spears I wanted to craft needed metal ingots. Yes, at this time, I did miss fire pals immensely. Farming Bushi for 6 to 12 pieces of smelted metal apiece was starting to grate on me. I got lucky and found another Meemog too, by the way. Yeah, I'm not good at segues. I also got a good supply drop. I wrote that as gracefully and as eloquently as I possibly could have, probably. To save myself a ton of work, I parted with all of my life savings and bought 116 megaspheres from one of my merchants. 116 spheres, the exact number to max out a human. Kind of poetic. I also got around to making my Catres hat. I think it looked really good. I wouldn't get too used to it though. I lose it tomorrow. With my new hat, I ventured out and caught more humans. Then this daydream by mistake. This keeps happening when I angle my camera in a weird way. It's really not intentional, I swear. The next day, I traveled to the small settlement to get more electric organs, and more organs to help Tenchi grow stronger. No one was safe. If it walked on 2 legs and looked like you and me, it was free game. I imagine the scene kind of looks like when Cell started drinking people in Dragon Ball Z. Just an empty village. Yeah, a ghost town. The merchants and the PIDF didn't take too kindly to my transgression and quickly put me down. My Catres hat also broke. Yeah, the hats are cool, but if you keep going back to respawn, they break. That means I need to go to Catres to get more of her fur. Okay, you got me. That one was intentional. I just hope my monetization isn't slam dunked for all these jokes. A new 4090 for Christmas would be a nice gift to me for being a good boy this year. Fast forward a few in-game hours and I ended up at the Dogcoin Merchant and I wanted gold. So we fought the merchant and defeated him. Back when I was doing my 100 Days Dark Pals only video, I used a relog cheese to get the merchants to spawn in if they died. I wanted to see if it would be the same for the Dogcoin Merchant, and much to my surprise it actually worked. There he was. Stood there in all of his golden glory. So we unalived him again, and wants more for good measure. On another note, yes, it does feel like I'm cheating when I do this, so I'll just do it sparingly. Although there's not much really I could do with gold outside of buying crafting materials. I wouldn't consider this absolutely game breaking. Yeah, 126,000 gold for 5 minutes of work seems totally fair and reasonable. Back at the base, I made a Palsphere workbench to craft my own Gigaspheres, but in the meantime, I needed a quick fix, so I bought more Megaspheres. When I finished up, a raiding party was sent to my doorstep. This inconvenience would grant me more humans to use for later, and luckily for me, I managed to capture them all. I still wanted to craft Gigaspheres, and they needed a lot of smelted ingots, so back I went to the Sakurajima graveyard to farm Bushi for the rest of the day. After stealing as many Bushi swords as I could, I headed to the river to farm Paldean fragments. Gigaspheres also needed a ton of frags, and wow, now I'm farming stone. After all of that hard work, which looks like it took a short while, but I assure you it didn't, I was only able to craft 20 Gigaspheres. This really was not worth the effort. On my laundry list of things to do today, fighting Catres was one of them. I wanted to fix my hat again. This hat breaks so easily, and fighting Catres every few days was an exercise in futility. But this video needs a B-plot, and this is it. Of course, she didn't drop any of her hair. I just realized I've been calling it for this entire time. I don't have a follow-up joke. At some point during the day, I ended up catching even more humans, and just like that, I was back out in the world farming more Catres. I feel really bad for Meemogs. It's not their fault they're filled with tasty loot, but you gotta do what you gotta do to deal with the Palworld power creep. When I got home, I repaired my hat, but I just ended up breaking it a few paragraphs later. Across the world, I was out catching villagers again, and these guys are super slippery. This particular one was giving me grief, and he wouldn't go quietly, but I eventually did catch him. And this one too. When the settlement was cleared out, I moved over to the fishing village at Mount Obsidian. I had managed to capture most of the villagers, but regretfully, I had another run-in with the 5-0. Wow, day 46 sure was crazy, huh? How did I get out of that one? Anyway, I captured more humans, and to have them respawn faster, I would log out and in again to expedite this process. I eventually had enough farming done and returned home to upgrade Tenchi again, all the way to tier 3. To max him out, I would need to capture around 60 more humans. Catching humans with Palspheres was already difficult enough, now I need 60 of them. I'd have time to think about the consequences of doing a Palworld 100 Days Human video as I farmed Bushi for metal. Today marked a big day for us. I wanted to see if I could fight Marcus. We had high spirits, and this fight looked very doable. I just needed a decent water skill fruit for Tenchi, but yeah, we did die. So I spent the next few days searching for skill fruit trees. I had searched all day on day 49, and the best one I could find was Lightning Strike and Solar Laser. They weren't super good, but they weren't super terrible either. After about 2 days of searching, I was finally gifted with a single water fruit. It was Splash. I didn't know if it was any good though, but we're going to find out. I fought Marcus again, and this time we were doing a lot better. But since Solar Laser was a grass type PAL move, it didn't do a whole lot of damage to Faleris. But Splash carried. However, I did die again, twice. I just fight Marcus later. I wanted to see if I could fight Axel and Orserk. They were the late mid-game tower boss, and I felt that was more our speed at the moment. As I was climbing, I unlocked another fast travel at the Anubis statue and checked the skill fruit tree that was in the area. I managed to get Acid Rain. Since this fruit gave damage over time, I figured it would be quite useful. A whole lot didn't happen for the rest of the day. I was slowly climbing the summit of Mount Obsidian. To keep on my path, I used wooden platforms to help me climb. As I placed a platform down, I was slingshotted hundreds of feet backwards, and my tired brain lagged to try and keep up. Thankfully, I did manage to not fall to my doom. Nighttime was right around the corner, and I took a moment to look over Palworld, and down at the path I had carved in the side of the mountain. Just seeing how far I climbed blew my mind for some reason. Eventually, the journey came to an end, and I made it to the volcano tower. When the sun rose, I encountered a shady PAL merchant. When I did talk to him, he said he was on his way to a settlement to sell his pals, and he said they were stinky. I left him alone. Clearly a random man at the summit of an active volcano was bad news, and I didn't want to get involved in all that mess. But I did get involved with Axel and Orserk. Not romantically, of course. That'd be weird. Imagine me. Axel, no, couldn't be me. Anyway, we were evenly matched in combat. We fought back and forth. Orserk and Tenchi were pushed to their limits. Why is it everything I write sus? I don't understand. And the fight raged on for a full 10 minutes. It was down to the wire. Would it be Tenchi or Orserk? Right as the clock struck 0, Tenchi dealt the final blow, but the PAL gods cheated me out of a hard-fought victory, and I died as well. Frustrated, I turned Palworld off and went to bed in real life. I once again fought the Alpha Beacon, and I once again left with nothing to show for it. I have some really horrible luck apparently. Since I didn't have much else to do, I went around and caught more Syndicate, mostly to pass the time. One thing I didn't realize when I initially started this challenge was that grinding to a halt mid-game is super boring. But for the sake of you guys, I'll try to make this as entertaining as possible. It's going to be a stretch, but we'll see if we can make this work. You think farming Bushi for metal would be fun and exciting, but it turned into one of the most mind-numbing chores in this entire 100 days. Armor breaks. Go farm Bushi. Stun baton breaks. Bushi. Need more PAL spheres? Yep, Bushi. I was living in my own personal Groundhog Day. The most exciting thing today was finding another water skill fruit called Wall Splash. I had an idea to better fight Axel and Orserk. Orserk, being a dragon PAL, was weak to ice, of course, and he was also weak to earth-type attacks. Luckily for me, Tenchi had some earth-based skills. Doubly luckily, I had a ton of frost organs to make ice grenades, so I made a weapon workbench and started on crafting as many as I could. For some reason, I needed a lot of stone to craft them, so I got to farming, and this took up a good majority of the day. After 20-so minutes of holding down my poor F key, I could only craft about 40 grenades, which I can already tell you wasn't going to be nearly enough. While Tenchi pretended to work at the weapons workbench, I planted lettuce and tomatoes finally. To give me a work speed boost, I ate one of the most atrocious things on the planet, a salad. I feel bad that I have to say this as a follow-up, but I'm joking, of course. Salads are delicious, especially with some vinaigrette and feta cheese. Yes, please. I force-fed Tenchi some salad too. He needed to speed things up. Those ice grenades weren't going to craft themselves. While waiting for the sake of waiting, I planted more lettuce plantations and tomato plantations as well. Then I scrambled some salad over this campfire. Hey, guess what? I fought Beacon today. You'll be pleased to know that no, I did not get the blueprint either. I farmed Bushi, yada yada. Oh, I fought Nocklum too, and Tenchi won. He's insanely strong. Peep this. I also found this Bushi hiding in a tree. Get down from there, you silly little goofball. Little critter trying to hide. Losing my mind. After days of scraping and farming, I was finally able to repair my equipment. To make my PAL box happy, I made a shoddy bed that, yes, of course, I would never use. With that, I leveled up my base, and now I can have 2 to 3 freeloaders across the world. I fought Axel and Orserk again until I stopped paying attention. I think a spider was crawling over my arm or something? I don't know, but I died either way. I went back in because I was seeing pure red, and then Tenchi died this time. Yeah, I blame the spider. I couldn't do much while I waited for Tenchi to heal from his wounds, so I farmed some stone. Yeah, I just farmed resources today, it seems. Oh, I also caught another Jonan. I was going to keep this one. I named him Akira. He'd be my backup just in case Tenchi got knocked out or something. I died in some confusion. I have no idea what happened, so this will be interesting to see when I edit the video. Apparently, I was out and about to catch some genin, and the only thing I caught was a katana to the back of the head. While running to get my stuff back, I ran into another Mimog, and a Quivern that was super rude. What did I do to deserve this? I had managed to catch a genin, and I named him Shinji. This particular genin had Hydromaniac, and that means he does a lot more water damage than normal, which was fantastic. Fighting Marcus and Faleris was becoming more plausible by the day. Oh, I caught another one also, but I died too, so there's that. The genin that I had caught before perishing was named Haru of the Takagura Dojo, obscure reference. I needed to up my productions, so I crafted 3 more weapons workbenches to have a person each one ideally. In theory, this would triple the output, I think. Whilst I was out and about looking for fruit trees, I got Hydro Laser, one of the strongest water attacks in the game. Of course, I fed it to Shinji. I'd have to be crazy not to. I'd have to test it out after we beat Axel and Orserk. I also got another Beam Slicer fruit. This attack is insanely overpowered too. When I got back home, I turned the spare humans sitting into the POW box into Tang, and upgraded Shinji's attack and health. Yeah, I'd say today was a pretty good day, honestly, all things considering. Today, right off the rip, I fought Beacon again, and yeah, no blueprint still. You know what? I'm just gonna make a base handgun at home. Farming this thing is getting me absolutely nowhere. So today, I spent the day fighting all of the Bushi I came across. Eventually, after committing many atrocities, I crafted myself a 6-piece. I'd go buy the biscuits later. From farming poor Mimogs, I was flush with a lot of dog coins, and I went back to the merchant to get Tenchi and attack elixir, and I got myself a little treat as well. I bought myself an extra inventory slot. Then, to thank the merchant for bestowing these gifts upon me, we farmed them for some gold. With my pockets filled with coin, I went to the fishing village at Mount Obsidian and bought all of the bullets I could afford, which was a lot. My friends, it is time. With my new gear and purpose, we fought Axel and Orserk again, 2 savages on a mission. With our training arc complete, Tenchi and myself finally beat Axel and Orserk again, but this time we did it in record time. At the time of writing, I have no idea how the Marcus fight will go, but in all honesty, I'm more terrified of Victor and Shadowbeak. But enough of that now. Tenchi and I ascended to the tower and took our rightful place amongst the stars. We couldn't rest on our laurels for too long. Things had to get done. It was crunch time. And we were in the big leagues now, so we farmed coins again. After farming the coin merchant over and over, I walked away with a cool 200,000 coins. I was super rich now. With all of my coins, I bought 200 mega Palspheres for the up-and-coming taming spree. Today was a day of hard work and grit. That means I stayed up all night farming stone, and I needed a ton of wood too. I hate to clear cut the Sakura forest around the village like this, but it needed to get done. Plus they'll eventually grow back. And I farmed the merchant again. This guy is trapped in an endless loop, just like Diavolo, and unlike Diavolo, this guy doesn't have King Crimson to help him out. Guess what I did? Yeah, I fought Beacon again. What came next will shock you. Still, no blueprint. When I got back home, I had enough resources to start crafting shock grenades. If I can get away with it, I'll save these for Victor and Shadowbeak. I'm not sure if they're useful against Marcus, but we'll see. This is totally not me stalling. I'm not scared. Anyway, whilst my villagers began crafting my shock rocks, I began planting crops, because we need food. We're starving to death. My villagers were still crafting away, and uncharacteristically, I wanted to do something nice for them, so I tried to make a bathhouse. The keyword is try. I even gave them a really nice hot spring too. One of the benefits of looting trash is that there is a small chance you can get cement from them, and that's the only endgame luxury I'll ever get in this playthrough. This project took all day. I was just never satisfied. Wow, it's crazy how life imitates art, huh? Didn't do a whole lot today, outside of catching more humans. I also nailed this 6-shot Palsphere toss, so I hope you appreciate it. Yep, did the same thing on day 68 too. I don't have a 69 joke, sorry everyone, not this time. Oh yeah, I was still out catching humans too. I was still at it for day 70, I had spent the last 3 days catching humans. When I read my notes, I'm not even sure how I had the patience for this task. Normally, I'd get bored and do something else, but I guess I just stuck with it this time. After catching 60 humans, I had the final one I needed right in front of me. And let me tell ya, he put up a really big fight. Dude did not want what was about to happen to him. But I am persistent. I had a lot of Palspheres, and he eventually came with me. When I got home, I turned the humans into a protein shake for Tenchi, and now his metamorphosis was complete. It was time to test him out. So off we went to fight the Beacon boss again. And guess what? Yeah, I know. Psych! I got the blueprint finally. Oh, let's go. But I couldn't celebrate just yet. This thing was expensive, like insanely expensive. I needed around 400 metal ingots to craft it, and Bushi usually only drops 6 to 9 pieces of metal at a time. I had a lot more farming in my future, and so I got on it. I had most of the resources I needed, but like I said, metal was hard to come by. Let's just say it was a bad day to be a Bushi. Normally, I don't like running caves on Sakurajima because they make my 3060 scream in agony, but I was getting very desperate. I really needed metal, and sometimes Bushi knocked hide out in the caves, to which I only found one. The loot wasn't even good at the end either, so yeah, this was a waste of time. While searching for Bushi into day 72, I figured I'd check out the skill fruit trees too. I managed to get one called Diamond Rain. I don't think I've seen this one yet, so I was eager to test it out. When I picked all of the fruits, I returned to base and I got dunked on. I forgot that I gave Lisa an implode fruit a while ago, and then this happened. Okay then. When I got my stuff back, we went and fought the Bushi boss too. Every little bit counts. Then, while waiting for night, I continued building the community center. I was running around a lot, and it was getting to the point where it took up most of my time. To remedy this, I made a few Dazzy thunderclouds. When that task was complete, I farmed metal from Bushis again, and got myself a cheeky level up as well. The only real thing that would help me in my future fights was to surpass the level of the boss, and honestly, I didn't know how I would achieve that goal. I had the idea to try and fight the Knocklim again, since it outleveled me, but I got distracted by something and I died. When I got my stuff back, Knocklim once again did his super frisbee breaker on me, and guess what? I died again. So I meekly began to farm Bushi again for the rest of the day. I ended up at the Bushi boss again. With all the farming I was doing, I was making some decent progress, and I only needed about 100 more iron bars to get my super project underway, but it felt like it was taking forever. Since I couldn't do much else right now, I decided to farm stone until the sun went down, and then I would farm Bushi at night. In the early morning of day 75, I was scrambling to find as many Bushi as I possibly could. Unfortunately, not a lot of them were spawning in tonight. Well, I did my best, but sometimes my best isn't good enough. I needed something to take my mind off the mountainous task that I had to do, so I cleaned up the base a little, trying to get things tidy. In my notes it says I died. To what? I have no idea. Day 76 doesn't have a lot of information. All I know is that while I was farming Bushi, I only got one of them. Bad luck. Well, we'll just have to try again tomorrow, I guess. This is it. My last Bushi for a little while, I hope. I didn't waste any time and ran back to base to create the Gatscalibur. All that hard work was coming to fruition, and I would use it with great justice. Well, I'd at least get it crafted at some point in the video. I'm going to need a lot more salads if I want to see this thing crafted in a timely fashion. While my villagers crafted the ultimate weapon, I repaired my armor. Well, most of it anyway. Look, okay, I was honestly just procrastinating on crafting because I knew it was going to take a long while, but I eventually just got down to work. 10 minutes of real life time had passed, and I had finally crafted it. Behold, Ultima. Now that it was in my hands, I had to go test it out. What better to test it out on than Catress? Honestly, it doesn't really seem that overpowered. I have a really bad habit of hyping things up, a pattern that I've recognized for making most of these videos, but I got what I came for, testing out this gun and some Catress hair. Today was the day. I could feel it. With my squad, we went to fight Marcus at the Desert Tower, and I died. It appears that I forgot to equip Tenchi with some water attacks. It didn't matter in the long run though, because I died again. With much struggle, it was done. Marcus was felled by my hand. Tenchi helped too, I guess. All I did for day 80 was farm resources, so let's just skip ahead. I was still farming into day 81. The biggest hang-up I had was needing a lot of fiber to make shot grenades. Honestly, I wish there were a better way to go about getting some fiber in this playthrough. I could just tame a water pal. Who would know? A lot of people don't even get this far into the video. I totally could too. Just pretend like I did all of that hard work for myself and never show my pal box. I could have a whole bunch of pals in there that farm stuff for me and no one would be the wiser, because I could just edit out the footage and not show them. Could I do that? Yeah, I probably could. Will I do that? No. I'm already anticipating the comments telling me the entire challenge is void because my camera clipped into some Gumas and daydreams, causing me to accidentally catch them, even though it wasn't my intention. Oh well. Huh? Oh, sorry, my mind tends to wander when I'm not doing much else. Now that Marcus was gone, all I had to do now was get to Victor, and that would take a long while, so I just started running. I can't believe it took me half of the day just to get to this point where I can swim across the water. Sheesh. Honestly, I have no idea if I can make the swim, but I'll try. Eventually, I got to an area where I could replenish my stamina, and it really was kind of stressful getting out here. Mostly because if I died in the middle of the ocean, there was no way I would get my stuff back, especially that gun that I just spent all that time crafting, and that would really put a crimp in things. But at least I made it, so that's good. Also fortunate that I made it to a fast travel as well. Now I can climb the mountain with a bit more confidence. I was still climbing into day 83, and I still had a very long way to go. For you, it took a second. For me, it took a long while. But at least I'm getting a little bit closer. Near the summit of the mountain, I encountered 2 Vanworm Crist, and I needed to get around them to unlock the tower fast travel. So I sent in Tenchi after them. I didn't want to risk it. If I died here, it would not be good. Tenchi cleaned them up, and we finally made it to the summit. Look, you can see my base from here. Well, not really, just pretend, okay? While I was running over to Victor's tower, I set my villagers on the task of creating a lot of shock grenades, and they made some decent progress. Well, they were until this wild Yakumo came in and knocked them all out. Alright, since half of my workforce were now down for the count, I might as well grab this supply drop. It had 2 might elixirs that would increase my attack power. I was going to need all the help I could get, believe you me. The next day, I fought Victor and Shadowbeak, and I got shredded. Absolutely shredded. I didn't even stand a chance in here. Tenchi was knocked out right away too, so with that, I'm heading back to base to let him heal. While I was farming, a small raid happened. What's up with the Syndicate always sending like 3 dudes and nothing else? Like, what's the point? Well, after that slight inconvenience, I went to the Great Desert to hunt Levender, and if you're a longtime viewer of mine, it's not for the reason you think. You see, I was after a potion that will let me reroll my stats. I leveled heavy into work speed, and since we were winding down on this 100 days, I wanted to convert those points into attack power. Enough yapping though, I didn't get that potion. When I went back home, I completely forgot that I could make omelets, and these increase your attack power by a percentage, about 10%. It's stacked with necklaces and your base attack stat as well. With my nutrition in check, and the most flames omelet I've ever eaten, we tried to fight Victor again, but I still died. But this time, I made it a lot farther than before, so this might be possible. When I got back to Sakurajima, I started checking the fruit trees that were around the island to see if I could get any more dragon fruit. Tenchi was my main hitter, but if I could at least get 1 dragon attack on each of my team members, I think it would help a lot. Here's my fruit haul from 4 trees. At 3 fruits apiece, I got 1 dragon fruit. Rip me, I guess. Oh, I also died. Today I got a really good supply drop. It contained work elixirs. I needed to craft even more grenades because I have a bad habit of throwing them and asking questions later. And that's it. That's all of day 88. Day 89, I spent the entire day farming to create these grenades. Yes, this did take a long time. I feel kind of bad that these days are so short, but in reality, it's just this sometimes. If I had pals doing stuff for me, I'm 1000% sure that I'd beat Say and Lyleen by now, and especially Victor. Never ever again will I take advanced weapons in this game for granted. Nor how broken a maxed out Shadowbeak is with maxed out Rukrates. The owl. The dark owl, okay? I can't say these names. By the way, I'm looking forward to the new map. I plan on using that Shadowbeak like crazy. I still haven't named it yet, so if you guys want to name her something, let me know in the comments. I'll be picking up on one of my previous 100 Days games because I just kind of want to dive into the map and not fuss around with like level 1 content. I was still crafting well into day 90, and after a while, it was time to fight Victor again. This time, I had gotten so close to beating him. I couldn't pull through though, and I died with around 26,000 hit points left, which was a huge sting in my pride. So here at day 91, I am left with a bit of a dilemma. I spent the next week or so farming up resources and making food to fight Victor. Do I show all the in-between steps, or do I just show all my losses to keep it entertaining? Truly, I don't know. The video is almost over. By now, I don't know if it really matters. I just stood around for day 91 waiting for heals. Those inner monologues were firing off today, I guess. Okay, here we go again. Victor and Shadowbeak, your time has come. Yeah, I died again. I had run out of omelets, and it took some time to whip up some more. Alright, for sure this time. We got this. I died again, and again, and again. At this point, I was so fed up with fixing my metal armor, I just downgraded back into leather, which honestly wouldn't help much, but at least it was better than doing this with plain clothes. I spent all of day 93 just farming materials again. Alright, I'm making more shockers. Here we go, fighting Victor again. Oh, Tenchi got rolled right away. Dang it, back to base, I guess. Alright, Tenchi is all healed and I'm ready to go. Let's get this done. Big finale for the video. Let's go. I really wish attacks didn't go through walls in this game. Here we go again, this time for sure. Oh, I actually won. Oh, I'm shaking so bad right now, but I actually did it. Now I have to fight. Oh no, I have to fight the super waifu. Yeah, you know what? I'm good. I already know that Seiya is going to be nigh impossible with just humans at my current level and gear score. So you know what? I'm just going to chill for the next 3 days. I earned this. I am going to retire. But let me say something before you leave. This was one of the most difficult Palworld challenges that I have ever done. Without a bit of cheese in the early game, I honestly don't know if I could have accomplished this challenge at all. Yeah, I know. I set all of the tower bosses by day 100. I know my limits. So to you, if you want to try this challenge, maybe you can beat Seiya and Lyleen. I would like to see it if it's possible. I'm not trying to be smug or nothing, it's just the way I sound, which apparently is really depressed all the time. Thanks for pointing it out, guys. I'm very well aware of it. You can stop pointing it out. Thank you, I know. In reality, I'm not even that good at Palworld, but I like to see what a Palworld master could do. Alright, but for real though. Day 98. I actually did try to fight Seiya. I can't say I clickbaited because here I am. I'm fighting her. As expected, I crumbled. She is so insanely strong and so insanely waifu material. Well, after that horrendous whooping, I decided to just relax and do chores. On day 99, I built this clock tower. I thought it looked cool. Can't really see the clock well, but hey, it's there. On day 100, well, it's actually day 102 because I was just having fun building up my base a bit, but who's really counting in these videos? Most people fake this kind of content anyway. I decided once again to fight Seiya and Lyleen. I fought as hard as I could and managed to get her health somewhat low, but I just couldn't do it. I could not clutch it out in the end. I tried again and nothing. Well, there you have it. I couldn't beat all the tower bosses before day 100. As punishment, here's me in a maid outfit. Enjoy. Bye. Welcome to another 100 Days Humans Only video, written and directed by me, Glam. Wow. You might be asking yourself, what's the point of this video? What's the overarching goal? What is the end game for such a challenge? I have no idea. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. That's the whole point of these 100 Days videos. Do I always need to have a goal? What if I just want to chill, huh? It's a brand new day and a fresh start with some new updates, and I'm looking forward to what there is to see. This isn't sarcasm, by the way. Despite the tone of my voice, I am quite elated to see what we're getting ourselves into. And since I'm really bad at segues, here's me attempting to raid a castle while being severely underleveled. Let's see what happens. With patience as thin as my hairline, I charged in and paid the ultimate price right away, because I'm not even 6 minutes into this video recording and I already got smeared into paste. You would be forgiven thinking I'm good at Palworld. Well, the truth is, not. I only have about 300 or so hours of playtime in this game, and most of that playtime was me making these videos and suffering greatly for it. At this point in the playthrough, day 1, I was already frustrated with the day and decided just to chill at my village for a moment and took great solace in the fact that the humans are actually useful now. Useful being used with the loosest of terms, because to put it quite bluntly, humans are not very good at anything. They struggle to complete the most basic of tasks, and if left alone for too long, they end up breaking bones somehow and they become sick, and it's just very frustrating to deal with. I won't spoil anything for later on in the video, but you will just have to see for yourself. And here's this bug, I guess. I don't exactly remember what this bug was, but it was significant enough for me to write down, so feast your eyes, I suppose. Midnight struck. Tenchi and I were slowly making our way up the castle from yesterday. With persistence that is borderline obsessive, we managed to weed out the first floor of Ninja. By chance, I managed to find a hidden chest. I have no idea, this is Palworld, but hey, I won't complain. Free loot is free loot, and it's always nice. Further inside the castle, I interrupted some important business. I tried to be polite and fired off many apologies, but he wasn't having it. So I did what I had to do. In a frantic panic, I ran into one of the main rooms, and guess what? It was full of, yeah, that's right, more ninja. Akira, one of the Moonflower Jonan that I caught in my last video, he has a focus on AoE-based attacks from Pal skill fruits. In this instance, it was Sand Twister. My thought process at the time was to just throw him in the middle of the room and let him go to work, and I would reap all the benefits, of course. The Sand Twister actually spawned up on the top floor of the castle, And it was in this moment, all I managed to do was kick the hornet's nest, and you can probably imagine what comes next. I died more times than I care to admit trying to overtake this castle, so we're just gonna slide right into day 3. And yep, on the start of day 3, I died the most cheapest of ways. I got shot with a stun bolt and then cut down. Kinda lame, not gonna lie. Fair fight, etc, etc. Get good, I guess. I just remember at the time of writing this, I was extremely upset. You could probably tell. Save me from the AI in this game, anybody please. I really have no words. What can I say at this point? I'm only 3 days in and I've died like 6 or 7 times. Do I stick around and clear the castle for sunk cost fallacy? Yes, I am just that stubborn. Just when I had cleared the castle and looted the final chest, more ninja. And to top it all off, I was in a completely different room and still died. You can probably see the frustrated little camera wiggles I did. I am very glad that this is not a hardcore run because I would lose my mind at this point. I actually kind of can recall from reading the notes just how horrible this was for me. You all better enjoy this video. Now let me ask you, what would you do in this scenario? Would you turn around and leave, having looted the big chest, take what you can, and call it a day? Or you double down and bet it all, baby? Would you go out in a blaze of glory? If you answered blaze of glory, you're crazy. I'm not about to do all of that. And after a 3-day long battle, the castle was mine. But at what cost? My sanity? Why do I feel so hollow? Oh well, day 4. I had something called a kinship peach. And the description says that the pal will open its heart to humans, but what if I feed it to a human? Let's find out. Oh, it raised its trust to 3. That's pretty good, I think. I don't know what trust is quite yet. Also, to make a note of it, with my pendant of diligence, I now have over 2,000 work speed. That's kind of bonkers, to be honest. From my previous 100 days, I have a good stack of Ultra Spheres, and there's a particular human that I would like to add to my team. Yes, I was thinking about Zoey. Why would I do her quest and go through all of that nonsense when I can just Hail Mary a Palsphere until I catch her? I managed to catch Zoey, and I tried to catch some of the PIDF enforcers, and that didn't work. I died before I could return to the title screen, so that's embarrassing. But hey, my mission was successful. While I was here, I decided I would try to catch the dog coin merchant too, and after wasting a few spheres, I did eventually catch him. I always wanted a golden boy at base, and here we are. He's like my giant golden trophy. Look at him go. The metal merchant is actually quite useful because he has transporting, and you know what that means. No more stray wood laying around the base, I hope. I need to get more humans, specifically Brotherhood of the Pyre, because they can smelt metal. That was the biggest hang up in my last 100 Days Humans video, is having to go farm Bushi for metal, but now that humans can smelt it, shouldn't be a problem. Right? And here we go, let's do an awkward Star Wars transition, why not? Yeah, I caught a few Brotherhood of the Pyre. Even at my level, and with how much hit points I have, it's still quite a bit hectic. Eventually, I caught all the Brotherhood of the Pyre I would need, and one of them actually had a swimmer. That's a fun little trait to have, I guess. I don't know, I thought it was pretty cheeky in the moment I wrote it down. And when I was done with all that, I just thunderclouded my way home and called it a day. The start of day 6, I unlocked the ore mining site, and right away, I unlocked the second version of it, which is way better. I need a lot of metal to make the upgraded ore site, so I got to work. To triple my productions, I made 3 forges, and in no time, I hope to have enough ingots. But hey, once again, this is Palworld, and anything that can go wrong probably will go wrong. As I was setting up the metal to be smelted, I was raided once again by wild pals, and I forgot that a human I caught in my last video, her name was Lisa, had the detonate ability for some reason, and it was equipped. I'm down an employee in my workforce, unfortunately. And with the end of day 6, I was able to upgrade my base at least once. And this would allow me a lot more humans to work with. If you've played Palworld before, you know what this does. I don't gotta explain it to you. If you've seen my video, alright, we're just gonna move on to day 7. And I decided to do a bit of base remodeling. Eventually, I wanted to have matching Japanese-style buildings to kind of match the rest of the aesthetic around Sakurajima. For now, that would have to wait. The ore site too required my utmost attention, and I got it built. And honestly, I got a little bit distracted tearing stuff down and moving, so not a lot happened today after that. But to finish off day 7, I unlocked the Japanese structure set. and tomorrow, first thing, I would build something cool. The morning of day 8, a supply drop fell from the sky, and my new Japanese-style castle would have to wait. Honestly, the drop was okay, I guess. I don't know exactly what was in it. I just wrote down it was okay. And then after that, I went back to base and started tearing down more structures. I was completely invested in this now, and I would focus. After the entire day of building and finagling with Palworld's build engine, this is what I got so far. It's a work in progress, but hey, I'm pleased. I'm doing this for me. This is for me. Well, this is all I have done, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like I did much. Take it as you will, but this wall is important. I had a bunch of wild pals come in here and just wreck stuff in my last video, and in this video I just cut it all out. It's just frustrating. This wall is very important. So, day 10, a dilemma I've run into with my wall is that I can't quite get the snap to work correctly on the wooden gate, and I'm at a loss. I can, of course, snap a foundation to the gate, but that leaves a large gap. And if I try to eyeball this, it will be lopsided. This is the kind of stuff that makes me weep internally. I eventually did get this figured out, and I had to painstakingly eyeball it, and it might be a bit lopsided, but you can't really tell though, so it's good enough for me. And after all that, I took a moment to gaze upon my work and took some pride and really soaked it all in. Now that I have my wall set up, I needed to organize a lot more. The base was in disarray from my last playthrough, and I had a bad habit of just throwing stuff everywhere in chests and never thinking about it again. And since I played a lot more Palworld in that time since my last 100 Days Humans video, I do appreciate being a lot more efficient and organized. So the next goal is to get my crops sorted out and set up a streamlined workstation and make it so my residents have actual decent beds to sleep in, but all of that in due time. First, I needed to rebuild my tomato plantations and my lettuce plantations. While I was doing that, I actually ran out of PAL fluids, so I guess at this time, I'll take a break from building for a moment and go bother the gobfins. I don't feel bad about it either, they're kinda moody. So, with Zoey and Teni in tow, I farmed gobfins for the rest of day 11. In that time, I farmed up to 78 PAL fluids, but I wanted more. I need 100, for vanity reasons. While in the area, I caught this arrogant PAL critic, that's what he gets, for being a jerk. And after a full day of farming, I got the last of my lettuce plantations built, and our main food source was now finished. Today was mostly spent upgrading my PAL box to progress in levels. I needed to build a PAL research facility, and what this does is very important. It allows you to improve your PAL's work efficiencies like kindling and so forth. I actually want to use this in this playthrough, so I'll be doing research in the background. Don't worry about it too much. Certain humans can plant, water, smelt metals. It's just so nice to be able to just focus my efforts on other things for now. A side goal I'd like to achieve is just to see how far I can get in this village in 100 days. And of course, to beat the last 2 tower bosses. Beating Victor and Shadowbeak seemed like an impossible task, and I managed to do it. This seems very plausible now, given all my resources. A slight issue I've run into is I don't have any humans that could actually harvest crops, but I do know the Free Pal Alliance devouts can from my 100 Days Water Pals Only video. So today, I will go out and catch some. They tend to be really annoying to deal with, especially with their stun crossbows, but I think I can manage. And on a side note, I have no idea how this guy got stuck up here, but he's coming with me. When I got back to base, it was time. Time to say goodbye to the old house that gave me comfort and shelter for 114 days. I wanted to have my villagers sleep safely inside of a building, and I wanted to upgrade it, as well as move my workstations inside. It was time to get to work. For inspiration, I looked to my neighbors and went to a castle. I also wanted levels and loot. I needed to unlock the Japanese-style hot springs at some point, and standing around building all day wasn't going to get me there anytime soon. But, of course, once again, this is Palworld, and my elite team of ninja would rather just stand around and watch me die. What did I expect? I honestly think they do this on purpose. I'm really glad there's not a death penalty timer in this game. I would be completely cooked. After my arguably successful raid on that castle next door, or small settlement, I have concluded that some of the building structures are impossible for me to do. But I will do my best. Now, it's time to upgrade the main building. On day 17, my upgrades continued. Yes, well into day 18. I'm having a lot of fun building. Can you blame me? This is relaxing. This is therapy for me. And the same thing happened on day 19. On day 20, I spent the day adding decorations, and this is what I have so far. I imagine watching me build for an entire week straight isn't the most exciting of things to do. So we'll go out and explore and see what we can find. There's a specific doctor I hope to meet. You know who it is. I was going to say leave a comment. No, that's not me.
If you like the video, please leave a like and leave a comment. It helps me out the YouTube algorithm.
Day 21, I fired up my furnaces and said my goodbyes and went out into the world to explore and find more willing people to join my village. I actually found my way over to a PAL research facility and I'm going inside. After breaking down a door, I caught a PAL research executioner, and I plan on catching a few more just in case they had abilities I needed. I've never caught one before, so we'll see what the surprise is. And from the chest inside the facility, I managed to get another kinship fruit that I fed to Tenchi, and I managed to get a Gatling laser blueprint as well. Pretty useful, I'd say, and I'd actually like to build one if I can, but we'll see. And honestly, the PAL genetics research guys didn't really have anything too remarkable going on with them. They have the cooling effect, and I guess I can put that to use for later with the freezer-powered grinder. On day 22, I unlocked the ability to make a medicine rack. Humans are very prone to getting sick and injured, and honestly, I don't want to have an ongoing battle later on in the video with this, so I'm just building this rack to get this done now. And I will craft some rudimentary medicines to keep stocked. Right at the start of day 23, I unlocked the human power generator, and the title should be pretty self-explanatory. I might need some electric organs to make a few of these things, so today would be a day of me running around farming electric pals. I had some electric organs actually laying around at base, so I was able to make at least 2 of these for now, but I would need a little more. So off into the world I went to farm electric organs for real this time. And I spent the day in the bamboo thickets farming all the univolt I could find, which was only 4. I guess they got the memo that I was on the hunt, and they all decided to hide from me. What else is new? Everyone hides from me. So I went out and fought the next best thing, the beacon boss. With its defeat, the sun began to close its tired eyes, and I went home for the night to work on my crops and build more generators. I noticed that my walls were breaking in odd spots, and that's because the structure decay in my world, which means over time my buildings would need constant maintenance and eventually just collapse, and I ain't got time for that. So I changed the settings to make sure it wouldn't happen. To help with repairs, I did make repair kits. And there was a predator pal in the area, and I already knew what it was, a very powerful splatterina. I want to test my team of elite shinobi and Zoe against it to see how we'd fare. And unfortunately, one of our number did fall in combat with the beast. But of course, Tenchi locked in, and we secured a W, albeit a scuffed W, but a W nonetheless, and I got 12 predator cores from this thing. I had a lot of smelting coming up, so I began researching a kindling ability upgrade. I had a feeling it was going to be slow going, so any boost is quite welcome. I wanted to upgrade my PAL box even further, and it required me to build a sphere assembly line and a power generator, and of course the sphere assembly line was larger than my poor crafting room. Oh well. I wanted to also make upgraded refining forges, and I could only craft 1 at this time. Stone and cement seemed to be my biggest hang-up right now, so off I went to farm some up, and while running around looking for stone, I found a restless wanderer. You all know what comes next. Never mind, the PIDF and their ultimate wisdom killed him. Thanks, that's great. And after wasting quite a bit of PAL spheres after a relog, I actually managed to capture this fellow. And he has a very, very suspicious trait that I'm not going to read out loud, but I will zoom in on so you can read it at home, and please have a laugh, I guess. I needed to make some cement for a few refined forges, so I went ahead and unlocked them in the tech tree. I also needed a lot more stone, so I went out and farmed some, and Tenchi managed to delete the Lyleen in seconds flat, which is still just really crazy to me how strong he is. Anyway, I got the stone pit built, and took a moment to farm some up as well. I was looking at more tech stuff to unlock, and I noticed that I could make an alpha wave generator, and it would hopefully slow down the sanity drain of my workers, because my entire settlement is on the verge of a mental breakdown, and I'm in the middle of it. Hopefully, I can get this thing built very soon. As things began to ramp up, I needed coal to make some refined ingots. I didn't have any coal on hand, so off I went to farm some in the world. I know they spawn somewhere on Sakurajima. It's just a matter of finding it. I eventually did find a coal node, and after farming the coal I needed, I made the coal pit. I needed quite a lot of refined ingots for later. My day wasn't done though. I needed yet more electrical organs. So I set my humans to farm stone, metal, and coal for the day, and I sped off to the bamboo thicket to farm univolts. While running around in the bamboo thicket, this Masanda made the unfortunate decision to fight me. Tenchi was there to help too, I guess. And that was pretty much the entire day, just running around farming electric organs. And to finish off the day, I did a lap around the forest, taking out any univolt I came across, and of course to fight the beacon boss as well. Then, I headed home to empty my inventory. I built a power generator. I would never use this thing, but it was what my PAL box wanted at the moment, and the PAL box is the only thing on the planet that still loves me at this point, so I do as it commands. I'm very aware it's a toxic relationship, but the PAL box never questions me. As I was tending to my base, a supply drop fell from the sky, and I dropped everything I was doing in the moment to go get it apparently. Inside, it had an applied mining technique manual, and this increases a PAL's mining affinity by 1. By PAL, I mean human in this instance. I haven't accidentally caught any PALs yet this run. Hopefully, it stays that way. And hey, guess what? We're running low on food again. And since all of my current workers are mining, I just spent the rest of the day lending out a helping hand and tending to the crops. Yep, day 29 was just spent building. That's it. It's literally all that happened. Sometimes I get complaints that I like to pad my script and that it's too long. Sometimes the videos are too short. I don't know what you all want, but this is literally all that happened. Wow, we're already 1 month into this, and I have almost no progress to show. But some progress is better than no progress, I guess, right? I really didn't do much today either, though. It was mostly just building my base. It's a perpetual work in progress, but I did sell a lot of the trophies I had accumulated, and gathered up all of my gold, and I bought a lot of wool to make cloth. I wanted to give my villagers some nice gifts, in the form of very comfortable beds to sleep in, instead of piles of straw and pine needles on the ground. Yeah, seems kind of cruel to make them sleep on that, so this is what I'm doing. After fixing and breaking and fixing again, I had managed to get enough of the higher quality PAL beds crafted. Hopefully this will slow down some of the sanity drain for now. This is quickly turning into a balancing act of keeping my villagers happy and actually playing the game as I intended. I still have about 20 days before I fight Saya and Lyleen. I'm sure I have time to get my preparations complete, right? Anyway, this right here was the reason for my base expansion. I built 2 more high quality hot springs. I'm still a few levels away from the Japanese style hot springs, or I would have built those instead. It's getting to the point where my entire workforce is just passing out on the ground and refusing to do much of anything else. I noticed that a lot of meteors were piling up around the island, so I took some time to clear them out. I got a bunch of comments mentioning the meteors on the ground affect their spawn rates and supply drops, and still to this day I don't know if that's actually true or not. I was always taught not to trust everything I read on the internet, but you guys would never lie to me, right? Right? After clearing out all of the fallen meteors, I circled back to a supply drop and the loot was okay. The gathering book was probably the best part out of it, honestly. And after much toil, I was eventually finally catching up on my food crisis, and I was slowly making refined metal ingots in the background. It's a slow climb to power this time around, but I don't really mind it. I'm actually enjoying the challenges that are being presented to me. I almost feel alive again. Is this a cry for help, or has YouTube sucked all the joy out of my body? We'll never know. What a jokester I am. As I was working on base things, I was raided by a herd of wild pals, and I beat them with the help of my boy Tenchi. You know, I'm sorry things in this video might seem slow, but I'm just enjoying taking my time and doing base related things. There's no real need to sweat too much. It's nice to just chill. I added a bit more onto my castle because, let's face it, that's what this is at this point. I wanted a dedicated crafting hall. I wanted to treat myself this time around. I usually just throw my crafting stations wherever I feel like in these videos, but it would be nice to actually be tidy and neat and organized for once. You know, take some pride in my work. I did get a bit carried away building on the main base. I won't apologize, actually. I'm having so much fun building and all of my villagers are finally happy, so why not? I get to enjoy things too. Normally, sometimes playing Palworld becomes a slog. This time around, I'm having a great time. When I eventually pried myself from building, I built a productions assembly line finally. Hey, at least it got done. Yep, that's all that happened on day 36 as well. I needed a quartz mine now, and to do that, I needed to leave the safety and comfort of my base. I needed to go to the Astral Mountains, and chances are I might freeze to death, or I might not. I'm building suspense. I only needed about 100 quartz, and it won't take long to get. And after gliding down from the summit, I diligently farmed the quartz I needed under the watchful supervision of Tenchi. Although he can mine, it would be nice if he lent a hand, but wishful thinking, I suppose. Anyway, I got what I needed and went back to base. After getting the quartz mine built, I stood around and did a bit of supervising of my own. Mostly because it's like 3 a.m. and I'm tired and I can't really think of what to do next. And towards the end of the day, I heard the chime of a lucky pal. And that pal was a Chillette. It's a shame because under any normal circumstances, I would have tried to catch it. This hurts me more than it hurts you watching this. And after that, I decided to go out and get more Catress hair to fix my hat. You've probably noticed that I've had the broken armor notification through half of this video, and I'll have you know that I am not compelled by compulsiveness to fix stuff right away. Half the time, I don't even notice the red box because I'm colorblind. Anyway, I went off to fight Catress. I repaired all of my stuff and went to bed. Aha, just kidding, the sun actually rose into day 38. Salads just weren't doing it for me anymore, and now was a great time to plant potatoes. I've never even used them before, so I don't really know what they can be made into, but hey, potatoes are awesome, and they are great baked and mashed and all of that, so yeah, they're pretty goated to me. It was time to up my food productions because frying oh my god, I don't even know what I write sometimes. It was time to up my food productions because frying salads in a soup pot was just silly when you think about it. So I have built this huge upgrade, the electric stove, and with it, I would have access to better recipes. Honestly, I'm tempted to build a full-blown kitchen and with cabinets and countertops. I think I will. Who's gonna stop me? You? Probably not. And because I'm washed and down the drain, I embraced the middle-aged woman within and made a sign that really accented the new kitchen. I would make a Bob Vila's home again joke, but I'm sure most of you watching might not even know what that is. Let's just say, in the early 90s, daytime television was something else. Oh yeah, I would have plenty of time to think about Bob Vila's home again while I crafted all these circuit boards. I was rated by Syndicate elites, and yep, they didn't stand a chance. Not so elite now, are they? I don't think so. I was nearing the zenith of all of my hard work from days prior. I was very close to crafting the refined metal armor and advanced weapons, then onwards to PAL metal armor. Saya and Lyleen were in my sights, and I felt confident I could take them both on. I also wanted to upgrade my PAL box, and my PAL box wanted me to build a weapons assembly line, so I did. However, my metal productions were running painfully slow, and it was taking a long time to farm up metal. So what I did was broke down my other assembly line, and hey, it worked out in the end. I used the metal from that to cheese this requirement, so with that, I upgraded my PAL box. My PAL box then wanted me to build 2 large PAL beds, but I was out of wool. But I am stupid rich in this game, so I just bought what I needed from one of my in-house merchants. I think over 1,000 should do. Yeah, I'm kind of a big deal. If I could, I would sleep on the pile of all my gold. After crafting a healthy amount of cloth, I made 2 large PAL beds. One was mostly for me, because, if I'm being real, these look a lot more comfortable than the actual beds in the game for humans. I was 10 days out from fighting Saya and Lyleen, and I'm going to be honest, I was a bit nervous. While my base has expanded in size, I was still very undergeared. So I had to kick things into overdrive. My plan was to capture more Brotherhood of the Pyre so I could smelt more metal, and get a few more black market merchants and dogcoin merchants to help with the transporting situation. But the silver lining is, in 40 days, I have doubled my workforce, expanded my living quarters, and solved an almost irredeemable famine, and made the working conditions of my village better. And you know what that means, my villagers won't go insane as fast. What did it cost? My own sanity. In real life, of course. You understand the sacrifices I make? Yes, my own mental sanity was the price I paid. I have a lot to get done, so let's get it done. I found a group of the Brotherhood just chilling, and yes, you already know this joke. I've used this joke in almost every video. They're just chilling. I don't like it. Let's just move on. Anyway, I lost one of them due to Zoe's bloodlust, but I managed to capture the majority of them, and I think this is good enough for now. After I was finished at Mount Obsidian, I headed right for the desolate church and caught a coin merchant surprisingly easy. Usually they put up a bit more of a fight than this, but hey, I'm not complaining. Now that I have a superb workforce, I needed to make more refining forges, and I needed to make more cement. Oh, it's a never-ending cycle. What have I gotten myself into? I feel like Sisyphus rolling a boulder up a hill only for it to roll back down the hill at the end of the day. Day 42 is missing. I don't know where it is. I'm too scared to ask at this point, but it did happen. But I do have the footage for day 43, so let's go. A few days ago, when I was building the upper parts of my castle, I made a secret room that I didn't know what I wanted to do with at the time, but now I decided to make it another living quarters, this time with upgraded beds. Do I need such luxurious sleeping accommodations? No, I'm doing this because I can. This is a flex. I needed a lot more pal oils to make polymer, so I fought the Mamarest world boss, since it would drop a lot. I think at some point they might have nerfed the damage output of humans because I swore Tenchi did a lot more damage than this. Anyway, I went home and started crafting polymer to make more circuit boards. I wanted to build the alpha wave generator so I wouldn't have to deal with any insubordination again. Is this ethically and morally okay to do? No, probably not. But I am chasing the bag here, and I am willing to forego my humanity to make some stacks. As the sun went down, I made the alpha wave generator, and I put it high up on my clock tower that I made oh so long ago. At this point, it was just a waiting game. I needed refined ingots, and it was out of my hands now. It was up to my villagers to see me through. Day 46. Not a whole lot going on here, just making polymer. Not the most exciting thing to watch, I'm sure. Trust me, I do feel the walls closing in. I got 4 days to get a full set of armor and better weapons, and if I'm being real with y'all, I think I'm pretty cooked. I had a lot of dog coins lying around, so I used them to buy a speed elixir, and honestly, the only thing holding me back at this point were circuit boards, and in turn, I needed to help farm quartz, so this seemed like the good choice to make. I could go out and get them, but I'm kind of comfy here at base, and I don't really like the mountains too much. I hope you understand. I finally had enough materials to craft the production assembly line 2, and I finally got over this major hurdle of this entire 100 days. I was done. It was over. With this, I could craft anything I could ever need now. So the first thing I made was a hyper shield. It's the best I could make at this moment, with all the materials I had on hand. And I still really needed coal for refined metal ingots, so I just farmed for the rest of the night and went AFK. The next day, I made myself a new grappling gun to get around a lot easier. If I went to Fay Break later, I'd need all the mobility I can get. I got myself a set of cold-resistant refined metal armor made. It would give me a slightly better chance at fighting Saya and Lyleen. I fought Victor in a set of leather armor, so this is a luxury, honestly, and to be honest, I know I wasn't ready, but day 50 is fast approaching whether I like it or not. I wanted to upgrade my glider as well, and to make the best one I could, I needed a lot of carbon fiber. Of course, I needed refined ingots as well for this, because why wouldn't I? The deadline is fast approaching. Do I even stand a chance? The next day I made my glider, and honestly, as I'm rewatching the footage, I should have just made a helmet, but oh well. I also eventually got a refined metal helmet crafted, and that's about as good as it's going to get for now, I think. My plan for the rest of the day is to farm coin merchants for gold so I can buy a lot of bullets for my legendary handgun, and my entire team is leveled up past 60 with my hardest hitter still being Tenchi. I spent the better half of the day farming coins, and even Zoe caught some strays. Tenchi has the lightning bolt ability, and to me it's kind of funny she gets taken out by the very element she represents. Kind of. But wait, Axel and Orserk use electricity too. I don't know anymore. I just don't ask questions. It's Palworld. The lore is made up and it really doesn't matter. With all the gold that I had farmed up from the night before, I had enough to walk away with 2,000 bullets. I hope this is enough. And I also had enough refined metal to finally make myself a pick. Hey, I gotta spoil myself sometimes, you know? Tomorrow, I would fight Saya and Lyleen, and this is either going to be a wash or I'm going to clutch a W. They're not very hard per se, but they have a lot of HP to whittle through. Well, tell tell a lie. Last time I didn't even really try to fight them. I just kind of went in, threw myself at her, and hey, can you really blame me though? She's a top tier waifu. She likes sake. I really love sake. It's like we're made for each other. I can say this because not many people make it this far in my videos anyway. I can say what I want and only a small handful of people will ever hear me say this. Day 50 is finally here. I made a few omelets and steeled myself for the fight ahead. If I could defeat Saya and Lyleen, I would defeat Viking Dad and Fay Break. Here goes nothing. I was doing so amazing in this fight, but Lyleen did that cheap moonbeam move. And what am I even supposed to do? Like, come on. Oh well, I know I can do this. Once again, the moonbeam saves her from my wrath. I don't know where day 51 is. I think I spent it fighting Saya and Lyleen, so we're just gonna go into day 52. So yeah, day 52. This boss is so cheap. She shot an attack, and she wasn't even facing me, and I still died. This is probably one of the most frustrating endeavors I've dealt with in this game. The DPS is there, but my skills cannot outclass Palworld jank. So after fighting her so much, I've learned a few things from this fight. You absolutely need to be running before she attacks, so that's something. And the other thing that I've learned is cycling through humans is the optimal play. So with that being said, what I need to do is go on a taming spree and make my entire team even stronger if I hope to stand a chance. I managed to deal at least 165,000 damage in 9 minutes, so this is very doable, but I have a long grind ahead of me. I got to work catching humans. My plan was to condense about 800 of them. Yes, 800. I was going to need a lot of spheres and time. Would I be able to complete this monstrous task? Who knows? I spent all day today raiding a Syndicate camp and caught a lot of humans. I didn't even really count. I was getting bored of breaking many ethical codes of conduct and needed to head back home to check on my workforce. They have a tendency to dissolve into chaos if I'm not around to keep an eye on things. And after returning home to get some food and to do some chores, I took count of how many humans I had saved up. I needed a lot more. I'm too lazy to actually do the math, but 26 isn't 116. And you may have noticed the daydream in the corner. I caught it by mistake in my last video and I never got rid of it. It shall remain there as a monument of my failures. I went to catch this human and caught an ecthyr deer instead. Well, the entire video is scrapped, ruined, down the drain. Just throw it away. Unusable. Challenge failed. I have an idea. I did what I had to do. Sometimes the toughest decisions require the toughest of wills. Anyway, I condensed the humans that I had caught already and put them into Zoey, and already she has around 800 attack. Is this a sleeper build human? That's crazy. I'm excited to see what a fully powered Zoey is capable of. I should feed her some pal fruits too. Say and Selena are weak to dragon attacks after all. To finish off the day, I upgraded both Teni and Zoey, and holy moly, she's already at over 1,000 attack, and she's not even maxed out yet. Oh, this is going to be good. I'd spent the entire day farming Syndicate on an oil derrick, and I caught the Crusher at the end because I thought he was neat. I'm going to call him Cookie, because why not? Anyway, I caught nearly all of the Syndicate that were present. Day 58, not a lot happened. I went back to base, emptied my inventory, and helped out with base-related maintenance. That's all it could do, really. I needed circuit boards to make spheres to catch more humans. What are the circuit boards for? Well, I needed to build a sphere assembly line. And if I can get a sphere assembly line built, I'll be laughing. I am a bit stressed. This entire thing isn't exactly going how I planned, I'll admit. I thought by now, Saya and Lyleen would be a far-off memory, and I would be on my way over to Fay Break, but no, it's not happening. I'm starting to wonder if this challenge is even really possible at this point. Was my first video a fluke? I can't say for sure. I can't even remember how I clutched a victory against Victor, really. All I can do is just move forward. You miss all of the shots you don't take. I will try to fight Saya and Lyleen again, but first, I need to catch more humans. I also built a Japanese-style hot spring finally, too, by the way. As you can see, I'm taking a moment to reflect while sitting in the warm waters. On day 61, I discovered a far cheaper and far easier method of farming all of the pal spheres I would ever need, while making some decent coin as well. All you need to do is go to the desolate church, cause a ruckus, and then bring the ruckus. You can farm out a lot of spheres and coins. Think of this as one endless wave mode of sorts. Either way, cha-ching, baby! Now all I need to do is go out and catch humans and try again. I made my way back to the oil rig, and I spotted an old man, and decided to add him to my collection. Of course, I'm not as cruel as I make myself out to be in these videos, so he will be spared his fate of being condensed into a protein shake. And then I spent the rest of the day catching all of the humans on the oil rig again. As I was mindlessly throwing pal spheres around, I was imagining that this grim tale would be put up on Reddit in some kind of true scary stories thing, you know? The ones that are way too detailed and elaborate to sound actually real. Let me give you an example. I was a PAL researcher working across the sea from an oil rig on the Galapagos Islands. In the middle of the water there was a large Syndicate oil rig. From the shore, I could vaguely make out the shapes of people, so I know it was populated and running. It had been this way for years. Seemingly, out of nowhere, everyone on the oil rig vanished without a trace. They suddenly ceased all productions, as if overnight they all vanished from the face of the earth. To this day, I still get chills down my spine thinking about it. Blah blah blah, you know, something to that effect. I'm not a writer, and sometimes my jokes don't always land, but I hope I explained this well enough to where you can understand what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, I gotta throw in a gray filter too and some creepy background music, preferably copyright free. Thanks. After I caught all the humans on the oil rig, I teleported back home, and that was it. That's all I had written down. After a few days of capturing the poor souls on that oil rig, I was able to use them to upgrade Zoe to her maximum base level, and I was missing some PAL souls, or else I could have made her even stronger. I hope all this extra effort was worth it, because I'm going back in to fight Sakurajima's tower boss, and I think I'm doing pretty well actually, all things considering. But I remembered that in my last humans video, I made a lot of shock grenades to stun Victor while Tenchi wailed on him, so I think I'll try that again. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I thought by now I would have already bodied Saya and Lyleen, and that's just not happening, so I'm at a loss of what to do. At least I can make PAL metal ingots now. I don't know what I'll do with them. I'll find something, I'm sure. Maybe a weapon, maybe armor, who knows. So the method that has worked best so far is using electric grenades on her, so I think I just might do that. As much as I don't like to AFK farm, today might be a day of AFK farming all the stone I can muster. I ended up farming about 2,000 stones. I need coins for PAL oil to make a lot of french fries because I'm having a surplus of potatoes, and y'all know what comes next. I'm just gonna... No way, I'm actually running out of power. Oh no. Hang on, I need to check my hamster wheels. Nah, that's crazy. I'm actually out of power. Y'all better run faster. I got a lot of grenades to make in the next few days. Honestly, if I can't defeat Saya and Lyleen, I'm just gonna spend the rest of the video building. I will finish out 100 days in this humans playthrough. And trust me, it's a lot more difficult than I let on. There, I built 5 more of these things. This might tank the mental well-being of my entire base. This is awful. I'm so tempted to go tame an Azurmane and just building a power generator. I'm not even kidding. This is horrible. But then it wouldn't be 100 days humans only, right? Look at this. I have 9 human power generators going at once, and I still have no electricity. Someone up there is already throwing a fit and refusing to work. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, that's too bad. You got french fries to make. I spent 100 days in Palworld using only humans, and I AFK'd most of the time, or spent the time building my base. Dang, no one's making these potatoes. I'll just do it myself. Don't worry, guys. Do everything around here. Ah, yes. What a delicious meal of french fries. What's in there? It looks like carrots, eggs, a chicken leg, 118 french fries. It's supposed to help slow down sanity drain. We shall see. Because it's like every other day there's a mental breakdown here. We're going to attack this predator splatterino. Let's go. Look at that. And a level up. I am almost level capped. And I still can't beat this tower boss. I'm going insane, everyone. I am literally going insane trying to do this challenge. I told y'all, playing 100 Days of Just Humans isn't... It's not fun. Well, it is, but it isn't. You know what I mean? I can make 217 electric grenades. I hope it's enough. Because if it's not enough, I'm gonna go insane. I just hope my power at least lasts through the night for this. I'm going to go in there, eat a few eggs, and just spam every single grenade in my inventory, and I hope it's enough. There we go. Zoe has handiwork 3, so this will be good. I hope this is enough, because if it's not, I'm at a loss. I have 151 grenades to make, and I ran out of power. I have every single human-powered electrical generator going, and I have 3 people manning the assembly line. There's really nothing I can do at this point but just wait. Might have to dust off the old weapons workbench for this. I can't wait around all day. 3 people at once making grenades the old-fashioned way. I might just stand a chance, honestly. We'll just have to see tomorrow. Alright, here we go. We've all eaten eggs. Grenades at the ready. Oh, stunned her just in time. Well, there goes Shinji, unfortunately, and I am more than likely next. Yep, I called it. Yeah, here she goes. She's gonna start using wall hacks again. This happens every time. Alright, here we go. No. And unfortunately, I couldn't clutch out another W. Alright, my glam fam. I know when I've been beat. I just cannot beat her in my current state. I tried to beat her by day 50. It is stretched beyond into day 77. No, I cannot beat Saya and Celine with just humans. If I can craft some technologically advanced gear, there might be some hope. Alright, I'm gonna make a few more grenades, and we're gonna try this one more time. If this doesn't work, I'm just going over to Fay Break. It's been a while since I checked any of the pal fruit trees for any dragon fruits. I could give one to Zoe. Alright, what do we got? Multi-cutter, iceberg, sand twister. Not looking good. On to the next one. Alright, here we go. Second fruit tree. Curtain splat. That one's not bad, actually. Apocalypse. Now that's what I'm talking about, baby. Definitely giving Apocalypse to Zoe. Now the question is, will Apocalypse actually do damage? Because Celine is a dark normal type? I don't know. Just pretty much throwing anything at the wall and seeing what sticks. I'm recording all of this the 11th hour, by the way. I'm flying by the seat of my clown pants with this video. One last chance to fight Saya and Celine. If I don't beat them, oh well. I'm just gonna migrate over to Fay Break and get a base established over there for the next video. Say what? 300 days humans? Yes, sir. I honestly think the biggest issue I'm having right now is just gear. That's it, really. It's taken me all day to run across Sakurajima. Oh, I'm in the PAL graveyard. How scary. Hello, Bushi. He just did... Okay. See you later, then. Oh, wait. Nope, that was a different one. I thought it was the same one. That would have been so funny. He's like, hey, wait a minute. So the net. Just turns around, just cuts me in half. Oh boy, dragon fruit. Beam slicer. Oh, praise the heavens. Zoe has beam slicer and apocalypse with her gun. Please. Please let this be enough. I got Thea and Celine down to 30,000 health in one of my fights. It was the lowest I ever got her. I'm running as fast as my little legs can carry me. Please bear with me. Really? Right as I'm about ready to start the fight. Oh good, they seem distracted. I'm not gonna bother with this. Yes, yes, attack my neighbors, my pretties. Let them know. Oh, here goes nothing. One final showdown. Oh gosh. Yes, yes. 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 Uh-oh. No, what? Okay, okay. That doesn't count. We're gonna try again. That was stupid. Very stupid. See, the problem with using shock grenades is that it blinds you. So, at least it does to me. I can't really tell what's going on when I start throwing these things. Really? What? How? This game is out to get me. It really does not want me to complete this challenge. Look at this. This is ridiculous. You see, a lot of things in this game will drive people insane. This is one of them. It's that Palworld jank I keep talking about. So now I have to sit here and wait for my health to regenerate before I can go into the tower. I'm so tired, please. I'm going insane. Literally going insane. I don't have refined metal to repair my armor. I'm just gonna go to bed. Please don't let me suffer anymore. I just want this to be done with. I have 92 shock grenades. That's right. You attack Tenchi. You just ignore me. Oh my gosh. That was lucky. Yeah, they really do not want Saya and Celine to lose, do they? Yes, I'm going to complain about this the entire time. Akira's already dead? No! No! Please. How is Zoe almost dead? How? I can't. I just can't. Alright, we're just gonna go over to Fay Break. I've had enough of this. Well, if you made it this far in the video, thanks for watching. If you want to leave, I can't blame you. Your boy could not cop a W. I'm so sorry. So yeah, just gonna run over to Fay Break. It's gonna be the rest of the video. My next plan is I'm going to go to Fay Break, establish a foothold, and build a base, and just start farming Hexalite. Surprisingly, a lot of my audience are grown adult people. I'm not sure why. Hello. Do you remember in Soul Calibur 3, a character named Rock? He was a guy who was like a really buff British dude who lived out in the wild, and he swam across the ocean. I don't remember exactly what for, but this kind of reminds me of that. Wait a minute, isn't that Fay Break over there? Where am I going? I was swimming in the wrong direction. I may have overestimated the actual distance of Fay Break because my stamina is starting to get a little low for my liking, but I do have around 6,000 health, so I can tank a little bit of damage before I, you know, sink into the drink, as it were. Gulp. Now I'm starting to worry. The island doesn't look any closer. Oh, well, at least it was nice enough to put my bags back on the shore. You know what? It may not get a lot of views, but I think in my next Palworld video, I'm just going to be a rancher. I'm just going to, like, catch chickens and horses and just, like, plant crops and just be a farmer for 100 days. That actually sounds really fun to me. I might actually try that. You know, just, like, get a bunch of livestock, just have a few dogs, build a nice barn. Outsource produce. Yeah. That sounds chill. I might do that. If I could just get to that fast travel beacon. We're in. Alright, we're sending it. Full send. I don't care. Quick. Alright, we made it. We're good. Excellent. I can make a PAL box once I get to my base location, and then we can start moving. You know, I'd say the best part about using humans on Fay Break is that I don't gotta deal with the towers either. So basically, if you've seen one of my other Palworld videos, there's a place where you can have an infinite Hexalite farm. That's where I'm going. And since Fay Break is a lot bigger than Sakurajima, it's probably going to take me a good portion of the rest of this video just to run there. Look at that. I've been here for half the day, and this is as far as I've gotten. I have to go all the way to the other side of the island. Boy, howdy. My legs are getting a workout. Driving my Subarus. My Chevrolet legs. Oh, another two fast travel beacons. This is good. If I meet with an untimely demise, I can just teleport back. Is the fast travel down there? Yes, sir, it absolutely is. Well, looks like I got a big climb ahead of me. By the looks of things, I think I'm in the middle of Fay Break now. So, yeah, hopefully not much further. You know, I'm going to be honest once again. It feels like a lot of Palworld kind of got away from me a little bit. You know, I stopped playing for a few months and all these updates came out and I don't know where to go or what to do anymore. It's dangerous, but I think the quickest path would just be to cut through the middle here. You know, it's been a while since I actually took in the majesty of Fay Break. You know, this walk might be good. Might do some good, you know. Just gotta remember the floating rock. If I remember correctly, there is a Gildane or a Celestier up here. Something. I'm gonna have to be mindful of it. What do you think, Tenchi? Can we take it on? He says no. Probably a good call. Maybe we should probably get to the location first before we try anything a little too crazy. Oh, he's attacking the Fay Break warriors. Good job. Just gonna throw another point into work speed. Why not? I think that might be it over there. Yeah, there's like a blue zone right next to it. So I gotta go from up here to over there. So once we find the blue zone, I'll know I'm in the right spot. I'm going to need wood and stone to make a POW box. So I'm going to start mining that as we're running, just in case. There we go, we're just doing a little diagonal shimmy up into this safe ledge here. Ah, the blue zone. New home is right up there. Or was it down here? I don't remember. Alright, I made it. Only problem is, it's on top of this cliff. Oh look, a switchback. So I had to double back to go up the switchback to get to the new base location, because this entire time has felt like great procrastination. It's a sensation sweeping the nation. Finally, we're almost there. It's right over there. The land of milk and honey. The land of Goshen. Right at the end of this path lies salvation. Ah, here it is. At last. You know, I gotta say, this is a really nice quality of life change they've done with this PAL box, or the building system in general, actually. Thank you, Zoe. And there it is. We made it. There's only 7 days left in this playthrough, but we're doing a fresh start. Also, a big shout out to you all for reminding me this exists. Because, yeah. I had no idea it existed in my older playthroughs. I would assume I'm going to have to build another one on Fay Break as well. Doesn't have to look absolutely perfect, but I figured something level would be a lot nicer. This guild chest is fantastic. Alright, I want electricity as soon as we get over there, so I'm also moving my hamster wheels. One thing I'm definitely going to do on the Fay Break base is make it a bit more human friendly, because I've noticed a lot of them get caught on everything. I don't want to tear this base down, but I am removing a lot of the interior structures. You know, I've been watching a lot of Warhammer 40k videos. I might make a hive city or whatever they are. You know, just like have the lower rungs just be awful industrious stuff and just have the top like a penthouse for myself. Yeah, I'm a good pal dad. Yep, definitely going to be doing things a lot different on Fay Break next playthrough, I think. Look at that. Nature is returning. Nature is healing. I took so much from this land. It's good to finally just give it all back. The guild chest has so much space. It's crazy. I honestly can't believe I was sleeping on it this long. Here we are, the morning of day 87, and I have no idea the layout I want to build for this base. Isn't that awesome? I think I'm just going to start building, just see what happens. I was kind of serious about building a hive city, so I might try that. This one is made of metal and wires, and as is mine concluded. But this one is made up of faith, and is the more deluded. This one's great journey. And this one's blah 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 are the same. I should really play Halo again. You know, I'm really pleased. Someone in my last video made a comment on Haru's name. They actually understood where he's from. I am Haru of the Takagura Dojo. I like that movie. Beverly Hills Ninja, by the way, for those of you who don't know. For those of you who are like, what is Glam talking about all the time? I don't know Japanese, but I am pretty fluent in Japanese. My new base construction continued well into the morning of day 89. This is not recorded off of a script. This is me just speaking into the microphone because I don't know what else to say. A Glam, I can hear you say. Are you just padding out the rest of the video to reach 100 days? Yes. Yes, I am. Unabashedly so. Well, you know, the 100 days in this video, fighting Saya and Celine and then eventually the Fay Break boss was kind of a wash. But might as well just end it on something light and fun, something I enjoy. Just enjoy building. I'm a builder at heart. Ah! Oh, Haru scared me. No way. No way. I can't believe that just happened. No, that's crazy. I actually legitimately, my fight or flight senses activated when he snuck up on me. That's crazy. Never thought I'd get jump scared as an adult man in Palworld of all things. No work suitability with mining. Nah, hold up. Okay, so I can mine it, but they can't. Well, so much for a passive hexalite farm. That's interesting to find out. By the way, I am recording this like the day of, so if it seems like the last portion of this video is rushed, it absolutely was. You know, I was kind of serious about having my penthouse being up top. I think this might be it. Well, my glass house is finished. Look at this, this window is just so unnecessary. This place, I swear, at this height, yeah, you cook, you know? Turn into a little hot dog, get burnt to a crisp. Well, it's not exactly a Warhammer hive city because those stretch up for miles and miles, but you know, the concept is there, I think. Alright, I have a 1-to-1 ratio of tomatoes and lettuce. So hopefully I don't have a surplus of lettuce again this time because that was driving me crazy. I need to remake all the beds I destroyed. There, that should be enough beds for all of the humans that lived at the base. It's day 94. I also need to make sure to grab my alpha wave generator because this thing was a pain to build and I am not leaving it here. I see a lot of idle hands just standing around. Let's put a stop to that, shall we? Why not? They deserve something nice too. I think I'll put the baths up here. Well, so far so good. No mental breakdowns. Yet. You know what the crazy part is? This entire, like, 10 days is taking 3 hours to film, but you guys are gonna go see it in, like, a minute. Well, we're gonna need a place to cook all this food. I think this will be the designated kitchen for now, at least. That's right. I need to go back to Sakurajima and get my electrical oven. Sorry, Bob Vila. It's entertaining to me that even when you give humans rudimentary tasks, they all freak out. They don't like it. They throw a fit. It makes you really wonder, are we exploiting pals to make work easier for us? Creatures that just live with the land and nature. Wild and free. Look at this, my glam fam, ain't it something? Not the prettiest base I've ever built, but gosh darn it, I am taking some pride in my work. I did this. While I wasn't able to defeat Saya and Celine, I gained something more. I gained a community in the game, kind of, you know? Albeit the humans are kind of stupid, but yeah, I gained something, I feel. I don't know what it is. I had a really nice speech planned in my head, but now that I'm on the spot, I can't really think of it. Oops. Anyway, see you on day 97. I've been having power issues, so this accumulator should help. Bit late in the playthrough, but hey, you know, we do another one of these videos, it'll be good. Oh no, the injuries. They're starting. Not the injuries. Come on, guys. I need to go to Sakurajima and get the medicine rack. There we go. Medicine, electricity, food, beds. Pretty much everything a kingdom needs. What more do these people want? Making bacon pancakes, making bacon pancakes, bacon pancake. Alright, I made 121 French fries. This will stem the tide, hopefully. Well, here we are. Day 100. Long awaited, long anticipated. This playthrough proved to be quite challenging for me. Mostly because I wanted to defeat Saya and Celine so bad, I let it consume me. And I didn't take the time to appreciate the smaller things in this playthrough. Like, all the humans I have gathered, all the wealth I have amassed. And it makes me wonder, what if our real friends are the humans we made along the way? Or something like that. I don't know, whatever. The outro, bye, next video.